Okay, let's check all the stuff. Hello, live stream, video on demand viewers, people who didn't catch the stream when it was live. Because obviously, since I just hit the live button, there's no actual live viewers yet. You're the only people I'm really talking to, people who exist in the future. But you may not know this. This podcast gets edited specifically to remove this little tiny intro section where I explain this, and then any pauses, any bathroom breaks. And more importantly, the edited version has full time codes. So if you're just looking for one specific show that you want to hear about, the time-coded version is linked, first link in the description, to the We Watch Anime channel. We have 2.3 thousand watch hours on
2,300 watch hours and 729 subscribers, which means we're more than halfway to being monetized.
And once that channel is monetized, we will abandon this channel. There will be no more live streaming here. So...
And everybody
you better hurt. Well, I just know there's tons and tons of people listening to this who still aren't even aware that the other channel exists because they just skip right to the show they're looking for. They don't even listen to this opening segment, but I do it anyways. All right, we're going to launch the actual podcast. We watch anime.
We watch anime.
We watch anime.
And it's time for some more of that good spring 2023 anime season. I'm Trixie the Golden Witch. With me,
I am Bird the Stork Wizard. I don't know, fucking
the Stork Wizard.
I be Quinn.
Quinn is our special guest on this episode because of the fact that, oh man, this we tend to start off these shows talking a little bit about what we've been up to, and we had moved. We were in Kansas City last weekend, as you may remember if you've been keeping up with the Trixie deep lore through the show. And we met Quinn last Sunday here in Kansas City right before we left to go to St. Louis. And we were supposed to be there for 2 straight weeks. St. Louis is a shithole. Not interesting at all. We haven't been to the actual downtown yet.
It's fine. It's a good place.
You've said the downtown's great, and I look forward to seeing it.
Well, most of the places we've driven through are covered in trash, abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
It's not... I didn't want to be there.
It's like somewhere between a Baltimore and a Rochester type of a place, which is to say, wouldn't move here. Would love to move to Kansas City, though. But we had to suddenly, because of, like, one thing that we did, like...
That we didn't... It wasn't something we did.
It wasn't, like, a mistake we made, but something that we did had gotten fucked up within, like, a couple days of us leaving, and so we had to drive back and fix it real quick before the weekend.
And we got the call, like, on Friday in St. Louis at noon. Hey, can you go back to Kansas City? And that's a 4-hour drive.
So we were like, I mean, we can spend 8 hours driving today and not get to watch the anime that we're trying to watch and, end up fucking... By the way, the hotel that we're at, the internet is...
I've been using my phone hotspot the whole time.
Yeah, the internet's so bad that we would have been streaming this off of Bird's phone Wi-Fi hotspot. So that would have been less than ideal. So, Quinn, you really saved us. We are at your place now.
Yeah, and my cat might terrorize us while we go.
Yes, that is may or may not invade, and you may hear us. If you hear, get down, or what the fuck are you doing?
Or stop attacking my pants.
Yeah, Bird got some cool pants at Pride today. We went to KC Pride. I'm very glad we did come back to Kansas City because not only did we get to hang out with Quinn, catch up on our anime, we got to go to Pride. I've never been to a Pride before. Bird
Me neither.
Was in a dress. You can see
I was in a dress
on Twitter. Our tweeters are down in the description.
Did you get any good pictures of me in that? Because I don't think I did.
I think so. I mean, there's the one where we're just showing off our sunglasses. That's a pretty cute picture.
That's good.
I kept trying to send that to Quinn, but the images could not go through at Pride. You cannot send an image over your phone, over data there. At least I couldn't.
Yeah, I had shockingly poor reception, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not too shocking because there's I don't know, how many fucking people were there? There was a lot of people.
It had to be like 2,000 at
many.
least.
Oh, way more than that.
Yeah.
That had to have been at least 15,000 people based on events I've been to. Like, that was bigger than, like, a NecoCon or something that we have in Virginia Beach. What a Pride is really like, literally any other festival except everyone is gay and wearing cool... I mean, well,
it's kind of like...
all festivals have cool outfits, but, like, they're just
It's kind of like a carnival
outfits.
Without the rides.
It's like an anime convention,
like
but
they've
people
got
are
the same
hot.
food. Yeah, right.
Hey, there are some hot people at anime conventions. But unfortunately, well, I would say it's more like anime convention, except the hot people are of age is the positive part. It's mostly adults, so I guess there's like an all ages day tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's family day is what they say.
But there was a funny moment when someone got on stage and was like, "Family day's tomorrow, so I can say whatever I want. Who wants free shit? Free shit."
And then they
Who
just
wants
started chanting free shit, running throughout the crowd, giving out koozies. It was really, really funny.
I think one of the drag queens was joking about everyone pull up their weed and.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like
Missouri,
talking about their edible
totally
just hit.
legal here, so yeah. I mean, I actually bought some flour at like a fucking booth.
When that wasn't even like real. They weren't selling real weed at the Pride.
No,
they were
the
selling
only
like
Delta 9 was the
strange
gummies,
weed.
like 10 milligram gummies that you could get.
God.
But yeah, no, I didn't want that. Anyway, enough about Pride. This is We Watch Anime. I have to do our starting housekeeping that I always do on these episodes because, we have backers. This show is supported by incredibly great people who have, helped our lives out a lot. I want to specifically shout out not only one of our newer patrons who, I have to include, my filter that's for $10 patrons doesn't include the $30 patron we got. I don't know if they signed up to have their name read specifically, but I would think so, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's 3 times the highest tier we offer, so.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, Patreon's being weird to me
You think
right
you could pull
now.
that up on your phone?
Hold on. The person I specifically wanted to shout out, though, is Hidden Music Island, who helped to fund our new audio interface. We're not actually using it this week because, for reasons established, we are not at we couldn't go back to our hotel to get all the things to do the show before we had to drive to Kansas City. So we're on Quinn's setup. That thankfully you have a setup. You have all kinds of cool audio equipment too. We were doing like a live show here last night.
Yeah, I want to get
ourselves.
the best bits of that and like put them somewhere.
That would be sick. Oh, here we go. I can just sort everybody by how much they pay. There we go. All right, so Hidden Music Island. Yeah, thank you again as one of our $10 patrons. M2, Alice4.
So these are people we haven't read the names of before, because these aren't new patrons, right?
No, this person's been a $50 a month patron since 2016, and I don't know if they're aware of this new show that I do, but I'm reading off the names of everyone who gives me more than $10 at this point. In Love with a Ghost, Belle with a little, what are those called? A tilde? Cornflake God, Dylan Paradis, Zach, Zaxon Julien, Orzelius, Anatheme Badesu, Bleh, Cypherpunk, Denon Detienne, Erebus, Esther, Last Isis, Miyagawa Ketsueki, Faf, Phaf.
That's my favorite name.
Raymond Williams, Susu2, Wild Stag, Zero Tsun Game, Antoine Gatien. Oh wait, that's $8 per. So well, you just got that one free,
Dang.
Antoine.
Hey Antoine, give us $2 more a month just to make up for that.
I just want to talk to your viewer about Oscar Wilde now.
Oh, who's talking about Oscar Wilde?
Gobo Strips. What's your favorite Oscar Wilde story?
I love the Picture of Dorian Gray, but I never finished it.
Oh,
I
shit.
did finish it.
It's really good. I think that might be the only thing I read, so I don't know why.
It's definitely the only thing.
I'm a big fan
really
of his
fucking good.
aphorisms. I could sit around and just read like single sentences that Oscar Wilde wrote all day long.
Yeah, they're so good.
Anyway, so yeah, those are the patrons who gave us at least $10 a month and get their names read. If you are a $5 patron or backer, I also forgot to mention True Fox 1 from Back.by, because that's the other site that we can be backed through. Both sites, if you give us $5, you get access to the bonus episodes. Currently, there is one 5-hour Bocchi the Rock Season 1 discussion.
We were very drunk.
Wow. That's a long time to talk about a very, just cute anime girl
It was
show.
a very neurodivergent conversation.
At least an hour of it was her explaining Haruhi Suzumiya to me.
Wait, what is it?
The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. So basically...
No, we're not going to explain it all over again.
Yeah, you got to pay for that.
There's this girl who is God, but... and a club.
No. They have to pay for it. Bocchi the Rock is already out, but... the voting has already concluded for what is the next anime that we're going to watch for a bonus episode. And
wait, I thought you said it was a tie. So
it
doesn't
was
that
a
mean it's
tie.
not concluded?
Well, I figured that we would just pick.
Okay.
Because I mean, both are shows I really want to watch. So honestly, we could just do them. We could just do both of them as our next two shows, and probably nobody would be disappointed.
Yeah.
But the two shows that tied for first place with 8 votes each were Keep Your Hands Off the Azoken and
I don't know that one.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yeah, let's go. I told you guys it was going to win.
Which Bird is really... It's probably because you expressed so much hype to talk about it that people wanted to vote for it. They're like, oh shit, Bird's really going to know about this thing.
Oh, this Isaacson show looks pretty cute, too.
It's very, very, very good.
Not that Cyberpunk Edge Runners is cute.
Is there anything else we should talk about before we get in? We should talk about Quinn, because you're our special co-host for this episode.
We're talking about my anime taste?
Sure, we'll start with that.
Oh, okay, sure.
You told me that you were honestly less of an anime fan than a Trixie fan.
I'm a fake anime fan. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I like following your life story. Like, I don't know. I feel like I just like weird stuff, and I like, I don't know. Evangelion was my favorite for a while because it has this big climactic ending, super surreal.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned, and like I only like trans media, and so I still like Evangelion.
Transition would have saved her.
Yeah.
You have Ponyo on Blu-ray. I'm a big
Ponyo's great.
Big Ponyo fan.
Ponyo
And you seem to be sort of a film nerd also a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I just be a nerd. I don't know.
You got Gaspar Noé movies
so good.
laying around.
I want to
got
force
the Holy
you.
Mountain laying around.
Can I force you to watch Gaspar Noé before you leave?
Yes.
I don't know
I
if
would
we
love
have
to
time.
watch Into the Void because I wanted to see
I don't
it for a long
know.
time.
That's not the one you watch in a group setting. That's the one you either take drugs or you just zone out and watch and get into this dream state.
That does sound
What's
really
the one
fun.
we would watch?
Probably Climax.
Okay.
That's the
It's-
erotic thriller.
It's
right?
also pretty prideful, so I don't know. Like, there's
nice.
a lot of LGBT people in it.
I have been wanting to watch those movies for a while because there's this girl called Deep Focus Lens who's a big fan and always talks about them. On
Oh,
YouTube,
really?
and I want to see.
Whoa, I want to follow her.
Yeah, you'd like her a lot. So you also have like Mobius books and every single Thomas Pynchon novel and Finnegan's Wake. I believe is one of your favorites.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be a lot more pretentious, and I just looked up like what's the best of this medium, and I would just like consume it. Yeah. Also, I'd like jumped 4chan boards a lot. Like I was a Mew person. I never was an anime like an A person.
Right.
Now I'm a nothing person because 4chan people suck
4chan
and are
is
terrible.
dead. It's gone. It's,
Good.
It's not
Beatrice
a
will
thing
like
anymore.
make 4chan references to me. I never used it, so it's just like, what?
You're a better person for it,
Yeah,
honestly.
no,
I am a recovering. You have to recover.
I had a
from it.
cousin
It's
who
bad time.
was
It's
really
true.
into 4chan, and mostly all he talked about was how cool Rome was, and I was like,
Oh.
okay, I mean, I
Probably
guess.
something fashy happening there.
No, I mean, he's come
Yeah.
out of it since, but it was,
Oh,
it was
okay.
mostly just like he really liked Rome.
Interesting.
It was weird. He was like a 15-year-old.
Interesting.
Maybe it was a fashy thing.
Yeah, it's like a call to
what's
hold
your,
power or whatever.
What's your favorite piece of Trixie deep lore? What is your favorite weird thing I've done? I guess.
It's usually the highlights. Like when I'm telling people about like your crazy journey, I'm like, yeah, she had this weird weed era where like her channel just became about weed for like a bit, and
We're still there, aren't we?
No, I stopped talking about weed because people just complained.
Your audience was so fucking pussy about it. It was so funny.
Anybody who doesn't smoke
Your audience is all
attributes
12.
everything that they
Yeah.
don't like about my videos to like, you were high when you made
Yeah.
this, weren't you? I'm like, I'm always high. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah, it's so
I just
funny.
stopped
You're
talking
such a
about it.
Puritan audience, but
It's
you
strange.
went so far with it. They were so goofy. And then you had a I don't know. We talked about your neurodivergent charts earlier. You making those charts is the most neurodivergent thing.
Yeah.
It's like so strange. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I have good memories of a lot of stuff. I loved watching. Is it Bleep in the Weed where you're talking with Jess and like?
Yeah.
Those were a good time.
Ellen Horizon gets a shout out for always being our most active chat member, but she said, I've only been to 4chan like once as a teenager. I did not understand what it was about back then. I thought it was a porn site, which like it kind of is, but a very bad one.
Yeah, honestly, if you are getting off to adult GIF, like stop, go to Reddit and use.
So my like standard tack when bored and horny for a long time was like start on 4chan, just kind of mill around until you see something
gross,
really.
though.
Well, I'm not going to like B or whatever. Like.
There's just
like,
follow a bunch of
I
really
did it
hot
too,
girls
but
on
it's still
Twitter.
gross.
There's
like I don't know.
There's like the e-board where it's just like hot anime pictures, and I would go there and just like scroll until I found something cute, and then like that would give me the category idea for what I'd go search on some other site like, that was a cool picture of bestiality. Let's go find bestiality somewhere else.
Oh God.
Why did you have to choose that?
Good example.
It's pride.
I don't know. It's pride. Yeah, I don't know. I used to just
some pride is acceptable here.
I pretty much only stick to Pornhub if I'm doing porn stuff, but now it's just shifted to like Twitter porn, because Twitter porn is like the best form of porn, I think. Yeah, I don't know. You literally just have to follow a bunch of hot girls on Twitter, and sometimes they start to follow you back.
What a wild thing.
Shout out to Gobo Strips also for saying Trixie content about anime can't be bad. I can't be wronged by it. Many don't understand.
That's awesome.
That's how
Gobo.
Honestly,
Gobo,
I mean, Trixie's had some bad takes on anime before.
That's true, and I'll even say I've had some takes before I was a YouTuber that by the time I was a YouTuber, I was making fun of myself for. Like, I hated Ghost in the Shell as a teenager.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Just
Weird.
Awful take.
Well, I can't think of any bad anime takes actually right now.
No, most of my awful takes are not anime related.
I wonder if you've hated anything I liked.
But
love Kill la Kill.
I
probably like
Kill la Kill
my
is great.
favorite anime.
Wait, can we make Kill la Kill transmedia? I don't know. It might already be.
I had skipped Kill la Kill for a long time because I didn't get it.
There's actually not a lot of gender play. There's a lot of sexuality play in that show.
I like to think that, because I never quite got into Gurren Lagann, so I like to think that Kill la Kill resonated with me more because it was more about femininity.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. That's why.
That's kind of the two shows. Well, Gurren Lagann is be a man, and Kill la Kill is be a woman.
Best guy ever will love Gurren Lagann.
I first saw Gurren Lagann when I was like 17, and for me it was that was like the most macho era for me, where like me and my little brother were like literally called things manly instead of like good. Like, oh, that's so manly. What a manly
I never
movie.
did that. That's funny.
Me neither.
This was also like around the time of like the movie 300 coming out, and like bros as a culture becoming like a meme on the internet. So it's just like all of this like hyper masculine shit was coming out at the end of the 2000s, and obviously I had a pretty heavy reversal on all that, and like Kill la Kill that did for me like represent that kind of this is where I'm at now, as opposed to where I'd been at when Gurren Lagann came out. And like I don't know, I feel like it's still that way. I'm still in Kill la Kill zone.
Hell yeah, it's a good zone to be in.
Anyway, enough about those old anime. We got to talk about some new anime. Now, Quinn did not watch all of these episodes with us, so what's interesting about this is the first time we'll get to experience how confusing it might be for someone who hasn't seen the show to hear us describe it. Because a lot of the people who watch this podcast are not watching most of these anime, but will listen to us talk about them anyways.
Well, we just have such beautiful, sensual voices.
And, you can just kind of dissociate and let it play in the background and feel like at least I'm supporting an ally. This first show we're going to talk about is one that Quinn didn't watch with us, but we're going to see how much how difficult it is to understand what's going on, especially because you haven't even listened to all the episodes of the podcast where we talked about these shows.
No, I know nothing. This is so silly.
Wait, really? Get off the show. What are you doing?
Well, there's a few shows that she did watch with us, and we'll get to those a few in. But I wanted to let the rhythm of the podcast sort of get moving, and then we'll invite you to be a part of the main discussion. All right, now that the part that some people only come for and other people completely skip is over, let's talk about...
Couldn't the whole podcast be described like that?
Yes, well, pretty much, yeah. I love that the average view duration of this podcast is like 14 minutes, which is either 1 or 2 anime we talk about. So yeah, most people are definitely checking out the one. All right, The Danger's in My Heart. This is an episode that actually started off with one of the more interesting scenarios that's come up in this show, which has basically just become a dating sim. It's about our short king Kyotaro and his tall girlfriend Anna. As of the last episode, they're pretty much a couple. We just like watched them go on a Christmas Eve date. It was really cute.
I can't believe this show started with the guy wanting to murder the girl. Like, what the hell? Why has it just become really cute and fun now?
I do wish that the edgy factor was still at play more. Like, at least that he was, like, turned on by thoughts of her dying and confused about it and not sure if he's supposed to like that. That would be more relatable.
But instead it's just like he gets regularly horny for her and is confused and distraught by that.
I was starting to blank out because I'm like, this isn't my part of the podcast. Actually, this is quite funny. I don't know what the fuck.
No, this is a really fun show.
Well, I'll tell you, the person I know who is the biggest fan of this show, KT Cosplay on Twitter, shout out. She's really into big sis domination stuff. And this show apparently is basically like just a checkbox.
Mommy.
No.
I was about to ask,
not
is it different
mommy.
from mommy?
Oh.
If you try to call KT mommy,
No,
she
I'm
will
calling
block you.
Yamada mommy.
What a
just to be
perfect
clear.
distinction between sister and mommy.
I don't know, but it matters a lot to her. She was talking about this the other day.
I would like to talk to her about it.
KT, you should come on this show to talk about this episode, the next episode of this. I'll just invite her to talk on this show.
Or just talk about mommy versus
Why didn't I
sissy?
think about that?
Sissy.
If she's willing to. I don't know if she's willing to talk about those kinds of things publicly, but other than on Twitter. Anyways.
Okay, so this episode starts off, they do the time skip thing. So this scene we're seeing here
this did it right. We talked about, we've complained a whole bunch of times in this season about how shows will have these cold opens that are in media res, and then they cut back, and usually it sucks, and it doesn't make sense, and it's confusing. In fact, that happens in Kamikatsu again this week.
Oh, you're right, it does. Huh.
This, like in our Bocchi the Rock bonus episode, where we praised episode 2 for having a start just like this, where it's such a weird, out of left field scenario that it kept me the whole rest of the episode wondering, like, how do we get back there?
Well, that when they cut back to the regular story, you forget that this has happened, and when in the beginning you're wondering, like, well, wait, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Why is he eating dinner with people? He hates people.
Yes, and all of these characters, it's interesting because they're all people who I immediately recognize, but none of them have been very important in the show. So it's kind of like I vaguely know these are popular kids at his school. How did he end up here? And at first I thought, it's a clever trick they pulled by having the one girl have her jacket on the chair, because it made me think that they're waiting for someone else, like that Anna was invited him out or something, and that's how they got here, and that's not at all what's happening. But yeah, this, just because of the fact that this show has gotten so straightforward, this made me excited about the episode, which is funny because the rest of it is incredibly straightforward. Wait, why is this screen cap so much larger than the last one? Let me adjust my window real quick. This is the kind of stuff that gets edited out of the podcast version, live stream viewers. So, yeah, the way that we got to him at that diner, which I don't know if it was really evident in that screen cap I had, but he has a broken arm at that opening scene. And so the real question is, how did he break his arm?
Yeah, I always stay in the chat.
I want to be in the chat. So
you cut to Anna and Kyotaro basically on a date. They're literally holding the same bag by the different strings. That's pretty cute. And
so this is a flashback to the last episode, right?
No, this is a flashback to the start of the timeline of this episode. So this is where where we're actually beginning.
So right, they're like, "Hey, we went out, and now it's been a couple days." So he's thinking about how they were pseudo holding hands, and actually they do end up holding hands after this. They're the cutest, really.
They are pretty adorable. But he is about to go up, I assume, to like Aomori or something. His family's from the countryside.
He is going up to see his grandmother. And his grandmother lives up there.
And it's up in a snowy place. And
Yamada goes, "Oh my God, I wish I could go up there and see the snow." And he goes,
Yeah.
"Well, I guess I could send you a picture."
yeah, it's so this is the setup for how he's gonna end up separated from her in such a fashion. He's like sharing a room with his sister at this lodge,
He's
and
not
he's like,
happy about it.
I gotta get out. I gotta get some fresh air. And
Well,
then
no, it's he's trying to get the picture, and he stands by the window and
Oh.
thinks it's not a good enough picture. So he walks out onto this ledge, and I assume is just looking at his phone and falls off of the ledge.
Yeah, he
and it
manages
cuts
to
like
fall down like an embankment and break his arm.
we don't see what happens to him at first, so it like
Yeah.
cuts with just his phone with blood on it. It's
It cuts to the sister, and then she finds him like laying in the snow. Oh no! So, he breaks his arm. You know, he has to get a cast and everything, but they're still out in the countryside. So he decides that he's going to FaceTime with Anna to
well, she calls him, I think.
I think he like mentioned it to her, and then she calls him, because she's like, wait, what the fuck? What's like, why is your arm broken?
And
This
she's
is how she
she's
picks
breasting boobily.
This is how she picks up the phone. Hold on. This is a middle school girl. Quinn, what is your opinion of this? This is a middle schooler.
Why? Why'd they do that?
Why did they do that?
Why'd they do that?
Why couldn't she have been like
That's
at
a little
least
weird.
a high schooler?
That's so weird. You know how a team has to work on this. They have to like come to a consensus. Like this is a thing that we know.
They have to go home and tell their families that they made this.
Yep, I drew a middle schooler in
They're like,
Anyway.
brought.
She looks amazing. Like, and throughout this whole show,
she looks amazing.
Well, she's consistently
she
adorable.
does. Well, that's the thing. She's always been adorable, but they usually draw her. I don't know. This show's designs are not usually this forwardly sexual. They're usually more like.
They've been getting there though. Like the last
Yeah.
couple episodes, it's like weird.
And I'll mention this because people have complained in the comments of the when we talk about this show that like they just can't get past that it's basically like Perfect Girl Falls in Your Lap, the anime. But I want to emphasize that why it doesn't bother me in this show is that Kyotaro is a good-looking guy. Like he's got fashion sense. He's like kind of edgy and cool, and I get why she likes him. And also she's kind of like. Well, we're gonna get into the borderline fetishism. It's honestly, this show does a great job of treading a line of still being cute while also like signaling to all of these fetishes that it's not like outright, it's not pornography. It's something that you, it's for teenagers who are too horny. I think is like the real demographic for this. But, yeah, I don't think they needed to draw her that hot.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that. That's wrong.
So he gets embarrassed. He hangs up the phone. He doesn't want to tell his sister who it is because she's probably going to bother him about like, oh, is this your girlfriend or whatever? He doesn't want to get teased. So, but anyways, he ends up calling her back, and she basically puts him through this routine of like, hey, do you have something around you could drink right now? All right, pick up that water bottle, and on the count of 3, start drinking. And then she's like drinking her water bottle at the same time as him.
Why do you suck?
It's the crowler, not me. Sorry, I'm spilling beer all over
It's the
myself.
crowler, not me. Hashtag anime ages don't matter. Alan, what? Come on.
What a fucking thing to say.
You know
Well,
you're a
my-
weirdo, right? Just because you're on the internet, you're still a weirdo. You're a weird person.
My motto is my new thing is anime years work like dog years. So actually,
No,
all these
stop.
characters are like
Stop.
hundreds of years old.
Jesus Christ. Wrong crowd. Blocked. Gross.
Blocked. So anyway, yeah, she starts putting him through like a command sequence of like making him drink water at the same time as her. She makes him give himself head pats. With her excuse being like, well, girls like it when this happens. Like, okay, do you see
I do
him
like
as a
head pats.
girl?
I understand she's 16, but also
Could be.
mommy.
There's so many trans themes. This is the only show that hasn't introduced trans themes in like an explicit way yet, I think, that we're covering.
I think you're right.
So it would be nice
Let me-
if
oh,
Kyotaro
okay.
was the little girl. But then I don't remember what the third thing she asked him to do is, but like afterwards, he literally hangs up the phone and is like, "Wow, she was controlling me like a."
Well, he literally says, "I don't have time to sneak one in," like to jack off about it.
That was a little earlier, but yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it's.
But so his sister catches him and is like, "Hey."
No, we already passed that.
Oh well,
we did that.
Sorry,
already.
I was spilling beer on myself.
This is the line. It's like she was remote controlling me, is what he says. There's definitely some, like, not hypnotism. What's it called? What's the fetish for like controlling? Mind control. Yeah, mind control fetishism. Or I guess just bossiness.
Is this just like, okay, I know you said it wasn't a porn anime, but this is like, what?
This episode really got lewd, man. Not that the show hasn't, like, it used to be more like joking about sex in a way that was like, oh, but the characters aren't that forwardly sexual with each other. But now he's running into her in the streets and she's dressed like this, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, they're not running into each other in the streets. They were going to meet somewhere, and she realized, oh shit, he has a broken arm. I probably shouldn't make him walk somewhere, which is strange because his legs aren't broken.
Yeah, here they are just looking cool together. Like, this is what I mean though. He knows how to like dress. He's not like a regular anime schlub who just is wearing like a generic.
No, he's just very Reddit, like in the way he deals with everything.
At some point it clicked with me that he looks a lot like one of my friends from high school, and I was like, well, that guy easily got laid, so it's not like it's not like this kid doesn't have the looks for it. But this is literally just me saying this to all the people who are like, she's just a perfect woman, like fell into his lap and he's just like some idiot. And I'm like, he's not just some idiot. He's criticizing her dog name. Oh yeah, they like gave each other gifts and stuff. They both had like assumed the other person wouldn't like the gift, and they gave it to him anyway, and they were excited about it. Okay, whatever.
Kiyotaro gets a scarf, and Anna gets a dog keychain that looks just like her dog.
So, anyways, they make it to the convenience store, and this is where we finally get to what the fuck was going on at the start of the episode. These cool kids.
We don't even get
are at
there
the
yet.
same convenience store, and they're like, "Hey, you're that kid who hangs out with Anna." And this guy earlier in the show was trying to get her line. I think he's the guy from the first episode who was like trying to hook up with her. And he threw the bike.
No,
at
not
him.
the first episode. Just like a couple episodes in, he's trying to get. Yeah, it is the same guy though. The bike thing. Yeah, that's like 4 episodes in, I think.
But yeah, so he's been trying to get this girl's fucking password all
for
year.
Context about that, real quick. At one point. He sees that guy flirting with the girl he likes, and he throws his bike into a river to distract everyone.
Yeah, so this guy literally like tries to surround him with his people, I guess. I don't know how these two girls are necessarily related to this guy. I think the one girl's like
popular.
Is this not the show where the guy has like a girlfriend and is trying to get another girlfriend, and the other girl just kind of stands there and watches him do it?
I think
or is that a different anime?
I think that's a different show.
I can't remember, but this girl though we know is like one of Anna's friends, I think.
Yeah,
she's in the class.
Moko or something. I don't remember.
So
hey, I got it right.
This is a really great line where this guy's like, "Come on, give me her line address," and he's like, "Oh, she doesn't use that. I'm pretty sure she only communicates with telepathy or something." I thought that was cute, and this girl wants nothing to do with it. She's like, "I don't want to be involved in this."
But she, the asshole just keeps pressuring Kiyotaro, and eventually Moeko just basically goes, "Hey, stop that."
It's like the girls walk away for a minute, so he's like trying to directly ask him, and he's just like, "Look, I don't want to tell you, And then, red-haired girl comes over and says to this guy, "I'm going home with him because he's my friend."
Which is not true.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
haven't hung out before.
Never talked.
You're a terrible liar, though.
Yeah, basically, as they're walking home, she's just laying it on him like, "Hey, I know you like Anna. Everybody knows it. You don't need to act like this is a mystery or whatever." And then they get to like an apartment complex, and she invites him up. He thinks that she's
her
like,
house.
Yeah, he thinks that she's teasing him about the fact that she's like, "Oh, but I bet you'd fuck anybody," or something like that. But actually, it's just that she was at Anna's house and he didn't know. So he missed a chance to go. He missed a chance to join her up in the room. Whatever. That's all for that show. It was, it was cute.
It is cute. This show continues to be cute, if not a little confusing.
It's just so straightforward. I'm just watching teens date now, which is not
Yeah.
really what I signed up for.
No.
This was originally a little bit of like a darker, edgier comedy series, and now it is a teen dating series where the girl is way too hot to be like 13 or whatever she has to be in middle school. So, I don't know. It's making me feel old watching it now, and it wasn't always quite like that. That's the feeling we're always trying to avoid here on the Seinen We Watch Anime podcast.
Beatrice is currently sharing her chair with a cat, which is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, the cat has decided that
Thank you for chiming in.
I'm sitting far enough forward on the chair that the back of it is now a cat napper. Alright, before we move on to the next show, we did have a super chat from Gary Always for $2. Shout out, said just came in and I see a diner scene at XD, because I complain about diner scenes a lot. I mean, in this show it was fine because it's like teens hanging out, but like whenever you do diner exposition scenes where like characters just meet at a place and talk about the plot, 12 minutes of Sword Art Online Season 2 opens with like 15 minutes of you can't talk to the cat in the background, Bird.
Sorry, she's trying to tear apart the chair.
Alright, and if anybody else leaves super chats, we address them in between the shows that we're talking about.
We established the cat's a character on this podcast.
Yes.
Do you want to say, did we say her name?
Oh, it's Priscilla.
Priscilla. The cat is
Like
Priscilla.
Elvis's wife.
Priscilla's a trans cat, too.
I'll get, actually, you posted a picture of Priscilla,
Yeah, I got this
earlier
really
on
good
Twitter.
picture of Priscilla
I'm
with
gonna
her
post it.
arm on a Go board. And
Why didn't we mention that you're like a Go expert?
I just have a lot of things.
I think that would be relevant to someone. Well, I have to suspect someone else who listens to
Dude.
this show plays Go.
I'm probably better than that.
I played Go for the first time last night, and I completely got my ass kicked.
Mhm.
I got a point, but was immediately canceled
No,
out.
no, you got... Oh, wait, no, you got, like, negative...
Yeah, I got like negative
15
points by the end.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Rip.
All right, let's move into Heavenly Delusion. I might weep while discussing this
Oh my God.
episode. I'm just warning everybody right now. I got really emotional during certain scenes here, and I don't know if describing them will be any easier than watching them was. But
It's real.
so anyway, this episode, Quinn, I have no idea how what this show's gonna make any kind of fucking sense to you because it doesn't make any sense to us yet.
Explain it to me.
It's a weird mystery show. It's in a
I like
post-apocalyptic Japan, and there's a bunch of kids inside this facility.
Okay.
Recently, they
But this is very clearly a flashback. So like this is post the apocalypse, or no, the apocalypse has happened.
Well, this is post-apocalyptic. We're actually going to learn in this episode what the fuck the motivation is of the character who built this stupid facility that all these kids are in, which is a huge breakthrough. This show
Has not been telling us
episodes in,
anything.
We didn't know why anything. We knew a lot of whats, a lot of who's, not why anything.
Okay, so they're in a facility and you don't know if like the outside world is like destroyed or like
It is.
So it's like Cloverfield
It's
Lane or
basically
whatever.
there's two different stories entirely. One that takes place entirely in this
okay.
facility, and one that takes place entirely in a destroyed Tokyo. And as of yet, we don't know exactly what the connection between those two stories are, but we're getting to a point now where it's starting to become very explicit that the monsters that the main characters are fighting in Tokyo were originally these kids in this facility. So the whole facility is like a flashback to the main story of ruined Tokyo. And these kids all turn into monsters eventually. And this episode is the first one where it's like very easy
They
to
say it outright. Hey, we turn into monsters.
Well, not just that, but which kids are which monsters. Like,
Yeah.
we will learn who some of the monsters we've met before originally were in this episode, and that's it's by far the most clarity we've gotten into the story. But it starts off with, I guess the main sort of character of this episode is Eyebrows Girl here, who has these. What has always appeared to just be hair that's kind of hanging to the side,
But
but
they're
it's
like
actually
bunny ears.
Yeah, she's got like these animal ears that this other girl is grabbing onto. It's always just looked like hair flaps, but we'll see it as ears a few times in this episode. I think this is... So at the end of the last episode, originally we had like 10 kids in this garden, and then they integrated like 5 different classes of them together at the end of the last one. So it seems like there's just like 50 kids running around and it's total chaos now, and that's why things like this are happening. But anyways, this is...
Tokyo's giving birth.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so this is
I wonder who she's giving birth to.
this is a 13-year-old giving birth to a baby, but
that's depressing.
but in this show,
sounds
this
like
show it's just
modern
sad.
day America.
This show's just pretty depressing.
Just government and anyway.
But this episode's pretty fucked up. But yeah, so basically her and one of the boys, even though they had never taught any of these children about sex, so they just assumed they would never discover it on their own.
Props on the screen.
I'm dying. I'm going to die. But yeah, no, she's delivering. She safely delivers the baby through robots and shit. Yeah. Which, speaking of, recently a trans woman delivered a baby through a womb transplanted into her by a robot.
Oh yeah.
And so seeing a robot birth scene in this episode to me is low key trans rights.
Shout out the trans people on Twitter that be like, I want to have the first abortion.
No, stop.
That's good.
Anyway, yeah, she has a baby. Meanwhile, back in our A plot, which is the destroyed Tokyo, we've got our main characters, Hiruko and Maru. They recently acquired this van.
Sorry,
from
real
Juichi.
quick. I was looking into the womb transplant thing. It is a temporary thing that allows for 1 or 2 pregnancies.
Oh.
Yeah, at least based on one website.
Disposable uterus. How convenient.
I mean, that's
disposable everything.
Still insane.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's insane that it could possibly be more for one than once as well. Like, yeah, that's. I don't know, wild.
So they wrote rather Maru is trying to write their names on the side of this van.
Can I ostracize all your fans?
With what? What are you gonna say?
I don't know. Birthday fruitcake's pretty cringe. Anyway.
Oh, I see. No, you're just trying to argue with people that are kind of pro-life, not anti-choice, but I'm kind of pro-life though.
I'm kind of wrong, but you know.
It's are you saying you're kind of pro-life morally or legally? Because there's a big difference to me. Like, if you're like, hey, people, I would like it if people kept their children. I don't have a problem with that. If you're like, the government needs to make it so you can't get abortions, then that's not okay. So yeah. That's just how
I wanted to rail us too hard. That. I just mainly want to call your audience
stupid. It's important to have these kinds of conversations.
I want to do that too, but I have to be a little careful about that because I don't want to just be calling them stupid all the time.
I can just be the...
I don't want to bully them.
I can be the heel.
Hey, if the name isn't what I recognize as a patron, then I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, birthday fruitcake, if you want us to even care about your opinion, give us at least $5 a month. I mean, we're not going to acknowledge it.
Patron's a shield from Quentin bullying.
It's not a shield. I mean.
No, it's not a shield from you bullying. It's only a shield from me bullying.
Oh,
you can bully whoever you want.
Weeb is asking you to call out. So.
Also, Weeb, I don't know why you're dumb. You're probably dumb. You're like a Trixie fan. I don't know. You probably call it. I don't know. Never mind.
I'm kind of satanic, but I love Christ. But fuck the devil, though. Love Satanism, though. What the fuck?
Wait, what? Who said that?
Gobo Strips, the Oscar Wilde person.
But I love Christ, but fuck the devil, though. Love Satan. Well, God and devil are on the same side.
All right. We have to get back to this heavenly delusion thing.
Sorta. I mean,
these characters, they're writing their names on this car. He can't spell, so she's making fun of him. Then they add Juichi's name, which is just 11. There's a joke about how, hey, if we read it as Roman numerals, it would be Juichi the second. Or no, rather, it would be them the second. Anyway, it's a bunch of lingual jokes about how if you change something small, you perceive it different. So this is where the plot of the show suddenly becomes apparent.
I'm sorry, your chat's full of bottoms, though. They're all like, bully me, bully me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, well,
bottom.
This is my
bottom.
Chat.
This is a great sign for me.
Power bottoms, dab. All right, so
I'm sorry.
This old lady is the one who runs the facility that all the kids are in. We've seen her a few times. She seems a little bit unhinged. She's very worried about what's going on with this child being born from the kids because that wasn't supposed to happen. And this is where she gives
What she means by that is they literally were not taught the concept of sex. at any point.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
laughing at your chat.
Yeah, no, she was
yeah.
laughing at
I
I'm not a
figured
bottom
that too.
in the chat.
Said the bottom.
Yeah, said at the bottom.
So this is actually a really good megalomaniacal villain.
Oh, they have a trans flag. Okay, well they're based.
Well, sorry, you really distracted me thinking about that. I was like, wait, trans flag, not a bottom. Wait, interesting.
Well, they could be a trans man, and then this they're
fair enough.
fucking badass.
Anyways, this woman is a. I've been saying for a few years now that I think that within 10 years, rich people are going to set up blood farms, because rich people really want blood.
What do you mean? They probably already do, right?
They do, but
Joe Rogan.
It's the adrenochrome.
I'm talking about blood farms where I think they're just gonna rent out factories and they're gonna fill them with beds that you can lay in with a VR headset on and just game all day while you lay in a bed hooked up to machines that
it
just
doesn't have to be that extreme, right? We already.
It doesn't have to
rich
be that
people
extreme,
can
but
just buy blood, and
I just think they're gonna want so much blood.
They're rich enough to not have to follow insurance. No, but they don't need so much blood.
They might.
What
if they're trying to change all their blood out every day or something?
What do you mean? No, this is a thing where you get blood infusions to de-age yourself.
Yeah.
But
or stem cell infusions. Actually,
Yeah,
that was one of the bits I
just
saw
think-
at Pride was get yourself tested to see if you're a match for people's stem cells, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, why would I do that? What?
I think the easier it becomes on a user level for the average person to just donate blood from your house, you just prick yourself, put it in a tube,
Yeah,
Netflix
Amy,
your blood away or
what
whatever.
I said was dumb. There's a lot
Netflix
of
your
I know a lot
blood
of trans
away.
girls that are tops. You guys are heroes, all right? Or you women are heroes. Every one of you.
Agreed. I'm not going to get into any kind of sexual conversation right now. I'm trying to keep my head on this anime. I don't need to be hearing about trans tops right now. Sorry.
Is that a new kind of Beyblade?
Dude, I want a trans Beyblade now. That'd be so fucking sick.
It's fine, just joking. Wait, are you joking about being a top? What is that? Okay, we can't keep talking about this.
What do you mean? She's not joking. No, she's
She says-
joking because she was teasing me that I'm canceled or something.
Ah, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah, okay.
This
old woman wants
is
to-
like one of those billionaires in that the reason that she's growing these children is to put her brain into one of them.
She wants to solve the problem of mortality,
Yeah,
to
solve the
bring about
problem of-
heaven on earth.
Specifically, she wants to solve the problem of I'm gonna die. So
She's
who
80
do
years old.
Who do
yeah.
I put my fucking brain into? And if I promise enough other people that they can do it too, they'll fund my research. So she goes on just this big rant about how morals need to be thrown to the side, and the guy's aren't people gonna be not okay with you doing this? And she's like, what people? The government that doesn't exist?
Societal pressures?
Yeah, societal pressures?
God?
Or could it be God? She's literally laughing at the thought of God not liking what she's doing. The guy, because the answer in my head when she said that is no, me, him. That's the guy who's probably, I think what they're setting up for is he's just gonna fucking murder her. He doesn't seem okay with what she's proposing at all. But she, because
I had to catch my tongue there because I know what happens.
Spoilers. Well, I mean, if he tries to do it, he might also just get eviscerated or
No,
something.
so
Well, don't spoil it.
No, I'm not going to
Okay.
say specifics. Just that doctor guy
Yeah.
is a guy that we know about already.
Okay. But yeah, the
Aside from the
the
flashbacks. is what I
setup
mean.
they seem to be angling towards, and laugh if I'm wrong, is
Ha 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 ha.
so in this screenshot she's saying first I'll become Miss Aoshima, because the plan was she wanted to transplant her brain into the new baby that that Tokyo just had.
But you have to be 13 or something for that to work.
And they're worried that she's not actually going to live 13 more years to be able to do that. So she's like, well, then fine. Instead, I'll become the woman that I just promoted to my second in command in one of the earlier episodes.
And the doctor's like, hey, that's kind of fucked up, don't you think? And
Yeah.
the woman goes, well, I mean, if you agree to be assistant director, are you not agreeing to be the director one day?
Yeah.
No,
literally
that's not what that
that's
means.
the most twisted language I've ever heard. Yeah, you're agreeing to be the director. I am the director, so obviously I get to take your brain out, throw it in the garbage, and put mine in there. Yeah, no, she's crazy as shit.
But yeah, so they're talking about brain transplants a lot, which is really interesting because that could be the only reason that Kiruko exists.
Yes, Kiriko, who is
one of the main
brother's
characters,
brain in her body, but now like basically is a trans woman. So this is the woman who's supposed to have her brain removed and the old lady's put inside of it, and that's the doctor who was talking to the old lady, and the two of them are they're admiring the babies, and I'm thinking they're gonna take these babies and run. That just seems like the likely answer. Okay, so yeah, Quinn, I'll introduce you because I didn't explain this to you, but this girl here, Hiruko, is her little brother's brain was put into her body, so she's inwardly like, I am a boy, but as the show has gone on, has completely fit into this body and is clearly in love with this guy who really wants to fuck. Really
okay.
wants to fuck.
Yeah.
Oh boy, okay, so now we're getting into the part of the episode that really got to me
emotionally. So I knew this show was going to get really fucked up. I didn't think it was going to start now in the way it did.
It gets very Made in Abyss in this episode, which I'm sure people have compared it to, including me before, but like even more so.
So because I'm fairly comfortable that they explain that Hiruko are these children, and we have seen a Hiruko with the powers that this little girl has. I'm just going to say it. This little girl is the Hiruko in the basement of that doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Usagi or whatever.
When Kiruko had her big hallucination that Maru was dying and she couldn't save him, we're going to learn why exactly she had that hallucination when they explain this little girl's powers. But this scene, so Eyebrows Girl's just walking around, and all the kids are playing, and she sees this girl who's sitting over at the wall, and the girl is wearing like the little girl, like 5-year-old girls with cute little pigtails, wearing like Blues Brothers sunglasses, holding a like vocal keyboard, like one of the ones you blow into.
A melodica.
And so the second that she came on screen, I was like, oh my god, that girl looks like a fucking badass. This is my new favorite character in the show immediately. But then, Eyebrows Girl walks up to her and is like, hey. And at first she's just like playing her tunes, looking all cool. Like, doesn't look disturbed. Like, obviously in this shot she looks sad as fuck. This is 2 seconds later when she goes, hey, don't you want to play with everybody else? And the girl just starts crying and says, I'll just annoy them. And I was like, damn.
It's like, well, come on. People like melodicas. What's wrong with that?
Damn. I felt that shit. So then, Eyebrows Girl takes off her glasses, and then suddenly, the walls of the facility open up, and all these wires with, like, needles in them come shooting out and just impale her in the chest. And she's like, oh, what the fuck? And she's just like... all these wires are grabbing her and they're stabbing her, and like a hacksaw is coming to cut her arm off, and she's like, what's going on?
That's fucking sick.
And then she wakes up in her room, and she's with, I can't remember this guy's name, but basically they have a conversation about it. She apparently had hallucinated something so intense that it made her pass out. And he explains... like, it sounds like it's whatever you're afraid of, because he's claustrophobic, and he says, you know, if I had an intense hallucination about being trapped in a small place, I probably would pass out too. I have a feeling this is a premonition of something that's going to happen later, or already happened. I'm not sure, because we're about to see. So this is a trip. So this girl, Eyebrows Girl, she has a special ability that she sees... what might be premonitions, but she sees things that other people just don't see. And in a previous episode, she saw this. There's like this alien creature that had hung itself, and she can still see it like hanging above the facility all the time. She's just, got... how would I describe these? It's like sleep paralysis demons.
Whenever you say premonition, I think about that Plebe in the Weave episode where you talk about that wrestling... that unhinged wrestling show.
Premonition. Yes. Fucking broken broken Matt Hardy.
Kyozo's EP. They're EP. Good night.
Where are you going?
What do you mean? Keep going.
So anyway, this monster, it's sort of implied that the guy she's talking to is this creature, and she starts just like seeing him as that, and she's just in like he's just continuing to talk to her, but she's like trying not to look and just going like, go away, go away, go away. Like she doesn't want this, and like blood is seeping all over the floor and shit. It's a really trippy, unnerving sequence. But yeah, so that boy is this monster. I don't know if this is a monster we saw already though. Anyway, so this is the scene that made me tear up a little bit because Eyebrows Girl, after that conversation, the guy basically tells her, I think you should face your fears, like whatever your problem is, if you're afraid of something, you just gotta face it down. So she meets up with the little girl with with the sunglasses again, and is like, hey, she just takes off her sunglasses once more. And the little girl's like, no, you can't do this. I'm going to make you see things. You're going to hate me or whatever. But she takes off the sunglasses on purpose. All the needles show up again. She gets stabbed a bunch of times again. But she's just like, no, I can will this away. This is just like the usual stuff I see. I'll just convince myself it's not real. So she like disperses the illusion. And then she comes to the little girl and says, you see, the thing that annoys everybody else has no effect on me. And I thought that was just the most adorable fucking thing I've ever goddamn heard. And it made me tear up. So, yeah, This got me emotional. I liked it a lot. And then Tokyo's back from childbirth. Everybody's excited. I don't remember if anything important happens in that scene. But, yeah, I guess that's it. I remember this episode ends with, like, just this creepy looming noise.
Oh, did you talk about how they have the special class at the pool? Did you mention that at all?
Oh, yeah, they're getting ready for, like...
The robot. There's a robot that's in charge of, like, the whole school system and everything. The robot comes over the intercom and goes, hey, come to the pool. I have a special lesson. You don't need to wear a swimsuit. We will not be swimming. Some people show up in swimsuits anyway, and they get made fun of. But basically, the robot then says, hey, your goal... there's a big test coming up. It's going to be a long test, but you will have plenty of time to complete it. Your goal in life is to get to the outside of the outside as Hiruko, which are the man-eaters. So it's basically just telling us, hey, monsters, we are monsters.
I wanted to note, Ellen said, this anime is very gender, and it's great. I agree, it is very gender.
I love when people use that verbiage.
Very gender.
All right, well, that's Heavenly Delusion. I really liked that episode.
I'm glad we're getting answers.
Yeah, I've been begging, literally, week after week, begging to know what the fuck is going on. Now that we know, like, there's an explicit villain motivation, really high stakes involved, and it's just so bleak to think that, like, these kids in their entire lives and everything they've known in their whole existence is just so that some old bitch can, like, have spare bodies. Like, that's all that it's for.
I know that's what this episode makes it seem like.
Have you ever watched Martyrs?
Martyrs.
No. It is one of the most extremist film. Like, makes Gaspar Noé look weak in comparison to it. I have seen Irreversible. It's about torturing people to the extent of human limits, just because rich people want to see what happens.
Isn't that kind of what
Salo
is?
Like? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Similar. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like sexual gratification of elites with pedophilia and stuff, but
right.
And like eating shit, I guess. The book's a lot more extreme.
Shit from our trembling hands. All right, Oshi no Ko.
Oh God, this episode.
Bird's gonna be peacefully getting his nails done while I throw an autistic shit fit about Oshi no Ko. I'm not going to go into as much depth as I thought I would when we were watching this, because every line of dialogue was like infuriating to me in this episode. Characters are just always saying either like the most obvious shit that like didn't need to be said at all, or just the dumbest, weirdest, like like characters just say things that the same person wouldn't say both of those things all the time in this show, and it's hard to like put into words and describe and justify to people because obviously it's fantasy, it's fiction. Nobody talks like a real person in fiction, right? And it's like, sure, but there's more like of a sense of purpose usually. It's like, I don't know. To me, like good writing is every line is trying to add to a character, and if the lines contradict each other and the character seems incoherent, then it breaks them for me. And some people are not going to have that effect. They're just going to look past it or not think it's weird. But to me, everything in this show just feels so slapdash and like, not that there wasn't thought put into it. Tons of thought is put into it. It's just the wrong thoughts. Too many errant random thoughts were put into this fucking manga.
Interesting.
So the way it starts, oh man, I just realized, Quinn, there's no way I could describe the actual
I can describe it pretty quickly. Just so basically, Oshi no Ko starts with a 90-minute anime episode. In that episode, there is an idol who is 16 years old who is secretly pregnant. Her gynecologist.
A lot of teen pregnancy in this season's anime.
Her gynecologist gets killed the night she's going to give birth.
Anime fan. Maybe I'm becoming more of a boomer where I'm like, anime is just like little girl.
Do you think I cover anime because I enjoy it?
Oh, fuck.
That sounded like it hurt. But so, the 16-year-old idol's gynecologist is killed the night that she is going to deliver her children, and he is reincarnated as one of her children.
He's also like her biggest fan, we should mention.
Yeah. So then it's basically him and his twin sister living as their daughter for a while, and then the idol gets fucking murdered.
Yeah. So basically, he's trying to solve his mom's murder by way of
you're right. The show has a plot.
Yeah. It's about a guy trying to solve his mom's murder, except it's his mom because he was reborn as her child after having been her biggest fan when he was in his 30s. And also the younger sister was also her biggest fan, except she was 12.
The little sister was a 12-year-old cancer patient of the gynecologist. And
I think you both are still partially explaining stuff to your audience and not to me. But also I'm like kind of phasing it out.
I'm sorry.
Continue on.
It's hard to describe this show in a meaningful way.
Okay.
In this arc, our main character is trying to work for a TV series.
A manager, specifically.
He's been working for this... God, Jesus, I hate this fucking show. It's a high school dating reality show.
You all should be ashamed of yourselves.
The main characters are high schoolers... And there is a reality show of where they all pretend that they are having like love drama in the background of, I don't know, being at school. This fucking reality show they're in makes no fucking sense. All right, so this opening scene.
She's just gonna talk to herself for about 30 minutes now.
Akane, this bitch. So she tried to kill herself because of mean comments on the internet. She was saved by the main character Aqua. He made her fall in love with him by doing that. And then she found out that his favorite idol was I. She doesn't know that it was his mom, or his favorite idol before he was dead, for that matter. Whatever.
Do you think he's ever going to tell anyone?
No, because it'll make no fucking sense. No, he kind of does in this episode, and it doesn't make enough sense for the character to pick up on it. This is such a weird episode. Akane, she found out about his love for Ai. She studied Ai obsessively for weeks and then has now cloned her personality.
Because she is such a good actress.
She is such an amazing actress and researcher that she has, just by studying Ai's movements, just by watching her, just by looking at clips and listening to her talk, she concluded something no one figured out in her whole life and career, because she didn't... I got pregnant and had children when she was 16. She died like 10 years later?
No, 3. They were like 3.
They were only 3?
Yeah.
Okay, she died like 3 years later.
No, it's like a scene of Aqua as a 3-year-old holding his sister away from Ai's body as she's dying.
3 straight years that that I had a total cover up on the fact that she had children. No one knows about the kids. They've been raised as other people's kids this whole time. Nobody knows I had children. This girl watches clips of her and goes, you know, from the way that she acts, I bet she had an unwed pregnancy at 16.
Yeah.
She just
And
guesses.
at one point, Aqua's like,
She
wait,
just
what the
thinks
fuck?
that's
How do you know
probably
that?
true.
And then she explains, like, well, you know, I read a lot of books and profile and character studies, so I can just pick up on these kinds of things.
So no one else who has ever had experience in profiling and character study came to this conclusion?
I love it. Yeah.
So she studied up on I. She comes into class, and the end of the last episode was like her showing up, just having the stars in her eyes like I did. And it's like, uh-oh, she's going to do the thing.
Well, it's also weird because it implies, like, so initially I thought it was a genetic thing because Aqua and Ruby only have it in one eye each, and she just randomly gets it.
I think it's more like having hockey in one piece. It's like if you're a badass, then like other badasses can recognize how much of a badass you are because they can see like your badassness, and that's what the stars are.
I don't know what One Piece is.
Well,
I know what it is.
neither do
I don't know what hockey is for sure.
So this girl, what bothered me about this scene at the start of the episode. This is staged as back at Strawberry Productions where Aqua works. His sister, what the fuck is her name?
Ruby. Ruby and Aqua.
Ruby.
Aquamarine is his
Ruby
full
and
name.
Kana, the girl who's in love with Aqua, are watching the TV show on their laptops. This scene where Akane walks into the classroom looking like I and shocks everybody is happening in the show. This is happening on the TV show, which I don't know, is it live? I'm so confused about the nature of this show because they're always watching it like it's a live show. But, like, because they're never, like, he's never, like, back home done with it, like, it having been taped weeks ago or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's, like, a lag time between what he's doing and when they see it. I wish they explained this
production
shit better.
schedule. Like, so for a show that takes so much time to explain how the simplest things in the film and, I guess, idle production and entertainment industry, like, the most simple things, it does not take any time to explain why the fuck the sister and Kana can see it. It's just annoying.
It's a big problem with a lot of anime writing, especially anime that are based on manga, where certain authors just, they don't know what information they should give you. Where, like, they give you way too much of certain things and then almost nothing of other things. And you're like, wait, I really wanted to know this and this, and you told me so much shit I didn't care about on all these other subjects. And this show is a big problem with that. Dead Mount Deathplay does too. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah, that show got bad again this week.
Yeah, but it wasn't, like, as fucking infuriating as this one. So, this whole scene takes place on the show. The lighting of the scene is implied as though it is from Aqua's perspective, because the whole scene is staged like a horror. It's literally, like, creepy to everybody that Akane is acting so different, and for him in particular, it's, like, off-putting, because he's like, what the fuck, I'm seeing my mom. Like, this is fucking with my brain.
/ my mommy.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's like, totally flustered and doesn't know how to handle it. But, like, the lighting of the scene, everything about it has this creepy, like, unnerving aura to it, which, if we're implying that that's what the show actually looks like, because that is what the girls are seeing who are watching it on the laptop, like, why would they stage it that way? They wouldn't. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It seems... Everything about the scene is to put us in the shoes of feeling like Aqua and the other kids who know her, but that doesn't make sense diegetically. So, it's
I really just wish,
a clusterfuck.
for all these show scenes, they just showed us what the people on the show, like, watching the show, are seeing. Because every now and then they cut to the cameras, and it's like, that's not the angle we're seeing this shot from.
And also, there's parts where, like, they have lengthy conversations that you would think would have been edited in the show. So then you're kind of like, well, did they really show all of that? Because that would be a boring show. Oh, wait, they just showed me all of that, and this is a boring show. Fuck! So many meta layers of bad show making. Alright, let's bully through. Oh my god. So yeah, this girl, like, asks Aqua to, like, get something for her, and he says no. And then Akane says, "Oh, come on. It would be so easy for you to do it." And he goes, "Okay." And she's like, "See? He'll only listen to her. That means she's doing something to him. It's just so stupid. So goofy. So goofy. These girls are... Again, this is all part of the show where, like, he gets flustered and, like, literally tells her to stop. He's like, "I can't handle this," and he leaves the room.
And then everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's being serious. He's actually uncomfortable right now."
Which they're excited about, because they're like, "Whoa, he's showing, like, way more emotion than we were expecting," you know? So, like, yeah, they're like... But, again, this is still on camera. Akane, like, reverts to her regular self.
The stars disappear, she's just back to normal.
Like, she was just doing it so that she could act for him in a way she thought he would like, and she sees that it's working, and the other girls are like, "Oh, now you're back to normal. This is cool. We're gonna help you do this." But again, this is all, like, like, her now having that, like, I don't know, she's, like, as part of the show, manipulating him into falling in love with her. It's a very weird meta text what this show is presenting to us. So anyways, Kana, who is this show's big failure, her whole character is just to be the one who's always gonna be getting cucked, basically. She's really cute, but her destiny is to be the misfortunate one, unless she ends up winning in the end. Who knows? But, and by winning I mean getting the guy, because that's how it works in anime. Kana is watching the show, and she's fucking pissed because he's flirting with this other girl. But then he comes up to her in the middle of school one day and is like, "Hey, you want to skip school with me?" And she's
on the
like,
way to school.
"Fuck yes! I would love to skip school. Let's go to fucking Tokyo Disney. Let's go to fucking Tokyo Tower." And he's like, "That's..."
Wouldn't we be immediately caught?
Yeah, and she's like, but we're, and she's, you know, again, way too much dialogue. Basically, he takes her to a baseball park.
This line was so fucking stupid. When I think about what a young guy and girl would do after escaping from the prison known as school, baseball's on the last of my thoughts. I was like, oh, come on.
Is she just, like, saying to him, "Hey, I wanted to fuck"? Like, that's how I read that statement, which is very forward of her. Because she's never had, like, a confession. She's never been like, "I like you." She's never been, like, forwardly, I don't know, dating him.
Well, and she's liked him since they were, like, 8.
Yeah.
Because they met on, like, a kid's show or something.
I don't know
this
if
show is
she
so
liked him
fucking...
back then.
She definitely did. This show's really confusing.
But yeah, also, I didn't know she hated school. Was that something established about her?
No.
'Cause she's the one who toured them around the school in the first place.
Yeah.
So now she's calling it the prison known as school, and this feels to me like just the author's opinion slipping in. Like somebody, like, and speaking personally, I fucking hate school. I consider it a prison.
Most people hate school. It just is a prison. I don't know. I don't
I
think anyone likes school.
I agree with the sentiment. I just don't think this character would... She's never shown herself to be such a, like, anti-society
I think she
type
is
of a...
studious, actually. Like, she's a really good student.
Never mind.
It's just never implied that she hated school.
Okay, I get you.
So this is where Aqua starts going all schizo on her and talking to himself in front of her, literally, where he starts just saying, "The boundary between me and Aqua Hoshino is steadily vanishing."
Because he's reaching the point of maturity where there's not that much of a difference between him being a 28-year-old gynecologist and him being, like, a 17-year-old guy.
Right. And also, like, just basically growing up again. He puts it like when he was a child, he couldn't fully
Make memories.
Yeah, like he couldn't... it doesn't make sense, because in the first episode, he literally is, like, narrating his birth as though he was, like, the same guy the whole time, and now he's retconned to saying, like, "Well, actually, I was a little bit like a baby back then," and it's purely so that it can build to him saying, "This is so obnoxious." This is just because he has to be able to say, "Of course, since I have grown up and experienced adolescence, I do think of myself as a 17-year-old, and I view girls around my age as potential love interests." He says this out loud. This is something he is saying to the girl who likes him is, "Of course I view girls my age as a potential love interest." And like,
Well, and so she immediately thinks of like herself being a year older than him and is like, hey, that's
Yeah.
cool. And then she thinks of Akane, who is also a year older than him, and is like, oh no.
she also called him a chunibyo at one point because he's
'Cause he is.
ranting about stuff she can't possibly understand. Like, does he just not care? Like, he knows she doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. She doesn't understand that he is a reincarnated fucking older person. Like, everything he's saying, he's just talking to the audience. He's just explaining to us the plot. It is so frustrating to me. None of this means anything to her. Why is he telling her this shit?
Someone in the chat said, yeah, you can be a 28-year-old and a child in mind, though. And that's not what we're talking about. They are a child in the...
He was a fully grown doctor. He was an adult, and he was born in the show, we explicitly saw that his train of thought was exactly the same when he was reborn. What he is explaining to us now is that actually his train of thought was interrupted by baby brain and has only recently gotten to be as good as it originally was. But also, like, growing up in this body has made him feel like a different person. So now he's just like, oh, I'm more of a 17-year-old than I ever was a 36-year-old. It just doesn't fucking make sense. I hate it. Let's move along. Have you ever skipped school before? And then she, like, posing, sweaty, glistening. Doing it with you is my first time. My very first time. You didn't
Sex.
fuck. You skipped school. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, this is where basically...
Akane lets on that she knows somehow
Well,
that...
so Aqua's not particularly interested in Akane, like, as a person or love interest, but...
He loves her as an actress.
Yes, he thinks that he's just like, hey, how the fuck were you able to do that? Like, how did you figure out how to be I so well? And she's like, well, I did a bunch of research and I made my own guesses. Like, I think she probably had children out of wedlock. And he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck? And so it's sort of implied that where this is going, what this character... Because this is like our third episode of focusing on this girl. And we've never really been exactly
It's
clear,
3 too many episodes.
like, what her purpose is going to be. And now it seems like he's trying to keep her around to be his Watson, because her brilliant detective brain will allow her to just figure out who Ai's connections were. Like, you figured out Ai so well, you could probably find out everyone she was ever connected with and get me closer to the killer. This is so stupid.
Let's try it.
I don't know.
So this is where he's doing our main character, our hero, our protagonist, the person we're supposed to look up to and relate to and think is cool, is Andrew Tating this girl. This is literally what Andrew Tate went to prison for. He's
Literally,
he's going in for the kiss, and as he's doing it, he's just thinking, I can use this bitch. So yeah, he's just going to emotionally manipulate her into staying around him so that he can use her brain. Great guy. Totally likable character. Not a fucking sociopath at all.
I mean, maybe he's just gonna get her to act like I, so that, like, the same stalker... Oh, wait, no, he's dead.
No, he explicitly says to her that he wants her to, like, find information and stuff. Like, he's just going to have her be his number 2 on this case. Kana sees him kiss Akane on the ending of the show, and she's just like, drop dead. Fuck you. I hate you. So they're having the after party for the show. Everybody who's in production and everything is there. And they're all discussing, like, are any of us going to actually date afterwards? Some of the professionals are like, I've never actually dated before. I've just been doing work, constantly. They're all fucking child actors. So they're like, more in this for the career move than for the actual relationship stuff. But they come to the director and he's like, well, there's been people who ended up getting married who met through this show. There's been, plenty of drama. Like, we don't care what you do. The show's over. But,
there are sweet temptations aplenty.
So this is where it gets really creepy. He's like, well, we want you to use this platform. Like, whatever you can get out of it, if you want to date, if you want to set something up, go ahead. And several of them literally, like, start dating as a, like, move.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're gonna set up, like, we're gonna start dating because it'll help us be more popular. Again, the show explores this, like, yeah, this is just the way the industry works, and it's all logical. Like, there's no sense of charisma of, like, watching two characters fall in love so that we can understand how this works. It's like, this is a thing that happens in the... Did you know that sometimes actors on the set of films fall in love? Like, I'm watching the trivia segment before a movie in, like, the theater. You're like, Brad Pitt and fucking Brangelina Jonglong, like, met on the set of Jumanji in 1963, and now they're fucking having 3 more Maddoxes.
Brad Pitt wasn't alive in 1963. That might not be true, but I'm pretty sure.
Anyway.
Also,
Brent's
Brad
trying to get a
Pitt
fucking
dating
pretzel.
Brangelina is really funny.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's fully dry, but
I just love that when you Google search Maddox, it's always their child comes up instead of internet comedian Maddox.
Their kid's name is Maddox? That's really funny.
Yeah. This director is, as he's explaining to them, we want you to use our platform to, do whatever you can. He's also talking about how, like, there's plenty of people who abuse you children who make shows like this because, they don't give a fuck about you. And there are sweet temptations aplenty. This is like an
What does
Epstein
that even mean?
quote to me. Like, he's literally talking like Jeffrey Epstein. Like, hey, if any of you wants to go to, like, private fuck island and have a degenerate career, we can help you with that too. I don't know. This shit was creepy, man. Which is accurate. I will say this is the most accurate thing about the show is that the industry is full of creeps. But
yeah, I was gonna ask, is this show trying to cover like a legitimate issue in the film industry where like these kids legitimately do get into centralized?
It's kind of it's one of those shows that tries to have it both ways, where it's being really critical of the industry but also really loves it, and so it's critical of certain things. But the weird part is it's more critical of fans. Like, people who shit on TV stars and make them, like, drive them to suicide and stuff, it super cares about that. Super cares about online bullying. Not so much about the gross inner politics of the industry, which it seems to just take for granted as, like, yeah, well, that's just what you do when you're a celebrity, is be a... All of the characters are sociopaths. All of them. Wow. None of them acts like a normal person. None of them talks like a normal person. All they care about is their careers and how they
I would say the closest
across.
to acting like a normal person is their, like, adoptive mother. And then
she's
also
just,
Ruby, just because Ruby doesn't really do that much.
And Ruby's a fucking idiot. But, So basically, producer guy or manager or whatever, the guy who got him onto the show, who has the information about his mom, he's sort of critical of Aqua for having leaked the attempted suicide stuff onto the internet, and he's like,
because it was a raw footage or something, and there's something in the contract that says you can't do that, and then Aqua basically goes, well, I read that contract, and actually, I was completely within it.
On my social media, it was okay. Basically, they come to a stalemate on that, and he's like, I'll give you the information, meet me at sushi next week. So
which
we don't even
sucks.
this episode ends without us actually learning any information about the plot, which I love.
Oh, and then this whole thing.
There's this last scene. The long and short of it is the one girl with the blonde hair.
The
from
YouTuber.
The show,
She's the YouTuber.
she used to want to be an idol. He invites her into the idol group. I don't know why this scene takes 2 minutes. It's very boring. I totally dissociated. And, because this girl looks kind of like Sharo from Is the Order a Rabbit? Which has one of my favorite anime openings. So as this was going on, I fading in the back of my mind was like, and then I was just like, yeah, I'm dancing, and I was seeing the images from the OP in my head, and I was like, this is so much better than Oshi no Ko. So yeah, that was that. It was bad.
This show sucks a lot.
I promised a 40-minute autistic shit fit, and that is exactly what you got, I think. I actually did go over every line of dialogue I had a problem with. Like I said, I wouldn't. We mostly talk about this show to filter children out of listening to this podcast. Because in spite of other shows like The Dangers in My Heart having younger characters, this is the only show that I know no self-respecting adult would actually enjoy.
That's not true.
So
That's not.
self-respecting.
Oh,
What-
right.
what-
Sorry. Very important.
Who's the demographic then for this?
Definitely
show?
teenagers and
Oh.
Reddit. Anybody who's on Reddit, this show is for
It
them.
looks very colorful.
It is like it's a really pretty
I
show.
love how giant her eyes are.
They're like big old water droplets. Well, this next show you actually watched with us.
Oh my god, I have to talk.
So Quinn, it's your turn to actually. Yeah, you have to.
Can I do your
Power
notes while we
in.
do it, or are you gonna be too distracted?
No,
She's gonna be
we'll have
moving
to-
while
we'll
she
have
talks.
To wait.
Yeah. Oh wait.
All right. So this is Mashal. You've never seen an episode of this show, but what did you think of watching this one with us?
Oh, I like when they punch Mashal like punches somebody, and then I like screamed like yeah fuck bitch and like laughed really hard. I liked that.
You were really into the character designs in this show. It seemed.
Oh yeah, dude, circle glasses, and then like this is the one with the tattoo, like not tattoo, but the lines on their
Yes,
faces.
everybody's born with a line on their face. A design idea I cannot believe it took so long to come up with.
Yeah, it's super. It's because it's not quite a tattoo, and it's not like symbolic of anything, but it like everyone it alternates just enough, so it's very iconic. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love it. It's
I-
so unlike anything in makeup or that I've seen at least.
Before we get into more of this, because Bird's in the bathroom, I'm going to read the super chat from Dumb Username, Australian $5. I've been meaning to ask, did you ever watch Cyber 6, a female hero with a witch hat who disguises herself as a man during the day? Really cool cartoon. I've never even heard of it, but I'll check it out.
Sounds very gender.
Yeah, it
which I
does
like.
sound very
I just
gender.
want anime about gender. That's it.
That's the best type. Mashal is actually one of the only shows that doesn't have any gender conversation really in it
you're
that we've been
talking
watching,
about.
other than the conversation of guys should totally beat the shit out of girls who are trying to kill them.
Guys should just beat up girls. That's
all
in
the
general.
time, everywhere. If you're a man
should be,
listening to this, which you probably are because our demographic, we
Please.
actually are up to like 6% female.
Wow.
So,
well, if
ladies,
you're a guy,
we made it.
If you're a guy listening to this, please punch me in the tummy.
Please beat up the
Yeah.
next woman you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, this the last episode ended with all of the main characters kind of got separated to go have a different fight with a different guy, and we see 2 of those fights. So it's very straightforward. The first fight is Gravity Dude versus some
Mudman.
guy with sunglasses.
Mudman.
Look, he's about to hit the ground from the gravity magic, but he turns into mud and he shoots spikes.
When he's not even turning into mud, we'll learn he's just kind of like going into
He's turning
the
the
wall.
stuff around him into mud so that he can just sink into it and he can kind of like move freely through the mud, I guess, and control the mud. But so this fight is like fine, I guess, but Mashal, this episode more than any other really conveyed like the 2 identities of this show, where there is like a very standard shonen fight manga, and then Mashal, which is about a guy with big muscles beating up magic users because, you know, who needs a fucking wand? I can deadlift, fuck you, which is what makes the show amazing. So this first half where it's like, I like blue-haired guy, he's kind of cool,
I
cute,
wish
I
that
guess.
every single magician in this show wasn't restricted to a single kind of magic, because it seems like
Yeah.
every person we're introduced to is like, oh, I am the mud guy, I am
It's-
the gravity guy, I am the steel
inconsistent
guy.
about that too, because like everybody can fly, everybody can do like the basic spells they have to get through school. So like if they're all in the same curriculum, where the fuck do the specialized magics come from? Anyway, we don't need to answer
I think
questions on
so.
that.
Actually, I do think the show does answer it, and it's
Wait,
like
for real?
family line magic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So this is just
Because
whatever their family
it's
does
mentioned
well.
multiple times that blue-haired guy is from like the Crown family, who are
Yeah.
like renowned gravity magic users.
Yes, and this guy also comes from like a big.
He's the mud
Well,
guy.
and I guess this episode makes it clear that like familial expectation is probably the biggest theme in this show. That like Mash's adoptive dad his only desire for Mash was just live, survive, be allowed to not be killed for not being able to use magic, whereas all these other people had like crazy expectations set on them by their families that determined the way they are.
That fight was a lot like Naruto, and they did do that he's just like me for real thing.
Oh yeah, both fights kind of did. Well, no, Mashal actually says you're not like me for real, but we should be friends at the end of his fight. But yeah, this one definitely did that. He's just like me for real.
My take is that I don't care about shonen fights at all. Like, I think it's boring as fuck when you just have like different powers and you're jumping around. I don't know. I guess it's the appeal for it for a lot of people. I do love great directing though, and I love when you make a punch like break through someone.
The punches in this show are just incredible.
It's so amazing. It's so fucking high. It's the most hype thing ever. I guess we're getting there.
This is the only anime I've seen where all of my favorite scenes were just a guy punching somebody.
It's so fucking good.
And most of the time punching a girl too. Like he's punched more women, or I think he's punched women more times than he's punched guys.
He beat the fuck out of Silva that time, but
yeah.
So this guy, basically his standpoint is you shouldn't hang out with people who are of a lower class than you, who are like less capable
because
of magic.
Don't touch my nails.
Trash will rot trash, just stay with your kind.
I think you're fine on that side.
Okay.
But he's getting his ass kicked.
And hey, did you know magic drugs?
Yeah, apparently you can take your magical essence, concentrate
it's
it
just
into
gotta
a
be
liquid,
semen, right?
And Jesus Christ. So he's got this big tube of purple jizz from other magicians that he's gonna drink.
And at first Beatrice was like, no, he's just like getting it in a totally humane way. He's not like stealing it from other students. I'm like, what do you think is happening to the dolls?
Like a thing that people were offering up, but yeah, no, I think you're probably right. I need that to get to the next slide.
I'm sorry. I was just checking Birthday Fruitcake was the same one with the abortion opinion. They're talking about like it's just dumb opinions. Worst chatter.
Stop distracting my co-host with your bad opinions.
Worst chatter, honestly. I don't need to tell you why. You know why. Be ashamed.
So, anyways, the Mudman turns into a big mud monster, and whatever, he gets
torture pole. That's what I call my penis.
Oh, it's the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Do you want to torture me? Do you want to make me cry?
But anyway, so big guy's doing mud thing.
Yeah, you have to explain the rest of Mash.
Yeah, that's fine. So mud guy's doing big mud monster thing, and what's his fucking name? Crown, whatever, blue-haired guy. He goes, oh really? You're gonna kick up the magic like that? Well, I'm gonna kick up my magic too. And he goes Graviol, which is his normal spell, but then he goes Graviol Secondth, which I guess is the higher level. And then these whole torture poles appear and whatever, kind of like. I'm not sure what it is they're doing. Oh, right. The poles have their own center of gravity, so they're just like pulling all the mud away from him or something. Something like that. Anyway. Mudman loses. Like, all the poles kill him or something. It doesn't go well for him.
So, the problem I have with the fights in this show is that there are no rules in this show.
Yeah.
For, like, what can happen.
That's why I love this show.
That's the great thing. Most shonen shit sucks. Like...
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite shonen?
Maybe. Well, I love Naruto for the character designs. That's why I put Hinata on most of my shit. And One Piece has some really high parts, but also I just lose interest fast.
Mine is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Baby Steps is a shonen, right?
Yeah, shonen
that's
sports.
Like my favorite anime. Or
Baby Steps fucking rules.
So
shout out Baby Steps. Anyway, this fight not that cool. It's whatever. I honestly, like, I tuned out the fight so much that when I went back through the episode to collect the clips, I was like, I kind of like what they were doing narratively with these two characters. I was just so checked out by the time that they got to the end of the fight that I didn't really care. But, like, basically his parents just all growing up expected him to be this badass and told him, like, don't hang out with lower people. And at some point he's like, I never really cared. I was just trying to make them proud. And, like... what Blue Hair says to him is like, I grew up under similar circumstances, but my little sister was always proud of herself just for trying her best, and out of respect for her way of life is why that's what I consider to be the better way to be. So he views this guy as second rate and beneath him because of his values, and that really checks this dude in the values, and he's like, fuck, maybe I gotta change my values.
Does he feel that way?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
I think this show is going to have a pretty big reformist angle, considering that, like...
Well, yeah, MASH
villain...
can't fucking kill people.
Right.
Although he has threatened it multiple times. Oh, this is...
And we
hell
have
yeah.
seen people kill... Like, I mean, this masked woman, like, I don't know if that guy died.
That guy was
just
not
stabbed
dead.
That guy in the fucking guts. So... cut to MASH versus Mask, and this fight immediately is more interesting and entertaining because it opens with MASH drop kicking a bladed weapon out of the air. I remember, Quinn, you immediately were like, fuck yeah, like, just like woke up at this part of the episode.
I was going to be really upset if this episode was only Mudman versus Gravity Man, and then we get a whole other fight of MASH versus
Honestly,
this
it
chick.
just felt like a sucky anime up until this part. It was so good. And then this became, like, suddenly my favorite thing ever. Like, I was like, suddenly this is my favorite episode we watched.
It gets so hyped.
Yeah.
We'll just say alright, the masked person's a woman. I'm saying that so I can pronoun her, but she's just like
She's
throwing,
got speed magic.
Yeah, these arrows, like if she jumps on them, they can make her like skateboard on them super fast, and so she's slashing MASH all over, and he's just like trying to get a handle on what the fuck she's doing for a while. But then she drives a sword through MASH, but it stops. She can't get it all the way through because he caught it in his abs while it's inside, and then he grabs her by the collar and just fucking headbutts the mask off her face. And that's how we find out who she is.
The masked person is, as far as we know, a woman. She uses female pronouns, just to be completely clear. I know last Issa said it's a man, I'm pretty sure, but it's not. It is a woman. Maybe she's trans.
It's going to be revealed later, yeah. In this episode, it seemed like they maybe we should just name them this character.
I will theory, like, the maximum amount of characters I can as trans.
Might as well. So, she...
the face line.
Oh, dumb username with Australian $2. The face lines are a Harry Potter reference. Right?
What does that mean? How?
Because Harry has a mark on his head.
I
think that could be what inspired it. But
well,
I think it's a pretty brilliant, just like way they.
I just think there are so many more obvious like direct Harry Potter references in this show, as opposed to like that's a scar. These are like denotations of magical power.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. Maybe it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the end point of it. But yeah, whether it's a scar or not, I don't know. But anyway, like.
Well, no, Harry Potter's the lightning bolt is a scar.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever. But Amy. I like the next comment though because we talked about that. Mashal has an issue, which is that the joke can only work for so long.
We were talking about how One Punch Man's joke got old really quickly.
Yeah,
but Mashal's been doing a lot better than that.
I don't think it will get old. Like they execute that directing so fucking well. I could watch Mashal beating the shit out of women for hours. Like it's so good. Like,
his name is Mash.
Oh,
Mashal
okay.
is the show because it's magic
sorry.
and Mashal. No. I call him Mashal too.
But I think the important difference is like in One Punch Man, the whole character is like he's just kind of over it, and he's not really having a good time, or like he doesn't really have a goal other than like hopefully somebody will last more than one punch and the fight will be kind of fun. But ultimately he's just kind of nihilistic and bored, and I liked that about his character, but it meant that for the show to happen, it's all these other characters who super care about something that doesn't matter, and it makes them all look goofy and dumb, and not in like a funny way. They just look dumb. And then, eventually Saitama comes and makes them all look dumb. But like, I don't really get the point of everything leading up to that. Like, if the joke is always just that he ends it in one punch, why all the fanfare? Why all the pageantry? Mashal doesn't end every fight in one punch. He has to come up with something new. He gets his ass kicked, he figures out what the problem is, and then he finds a solution using his over-the-top strength.
Really quickly, just because Ellen has asked twice, Love Cute is not in this episode. We do not see their fight yet. We don't know what has happened to Love Cute and, Arlo Genius or whatever.
I'm almost ready to admit that One Punch Man's, like, like this anime that we're watching now did not seem polished at all. One Punch Man seems like a very polished, well-written anime, but also I just don't give a fuck. And Mash punching shit is so fucking great. Like
my problem with One Punch Man is I care about everyone else in the show so much more than Saitama, just because I don't care. He's too overpowered. Like Garu is an interesting character, the hunter of heroes or whatever. The robot guy's all right, I guess. I never got to see Tatsumaki or her sister, but apparently they're the hottest psychics ever or something. And, you know, I've seen pictures, so yeah, they are.
So anyway, this fight, she uses this big dome that, like, I guess saps the speed
So
out of
this
Mash
dome
and gives it to her.
saps, yeah, of anyone who's in it, it saps the speed, and then she gets to go super, super fast. That's her thing. That's her magic. She goes fast.
Nonetheless, what he does to get around this is he punches the ground so hard that the floor like comes up like a taco, and I guess he's using like the vortex of air that creates to move fast while she's not paying attention, and yeah, he just starts fucking laying into her. I mean, look at this face.
Yeah, no, murder in Mash's eyes.
I mentioned before, Mash is like maybe the only sexy shonen protagonist I've seen.
oh yeah, he's fucking
Like, because most of the time they're like some little brat, like Naruto. You know, like a lot of hot guys in Naruto, but Naruto's
Do
not
you
really
consider
one of them.
K a shonen?
No.
Okay.
No. It's not based on a shonen manga. I think it's an original anime actually. But
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
but yeah,
they should make more of it. It's my favorite anime.
yeah. So Mash is just doing this fucking insane like Vorpal punch, and he beats this bitch all up and down the block. Basically, just keeps creating holes in the dome by knocking her through the dome, and then finally suplexes her through the roof of it. And yeah, again, every single punch is satisfying. We were like, oh, I can't believe, oh.
Yeah, all three of us were just kind of like yelling.
oh my god, the breaking of the shield was so fucking good.
So then after he kicks her ass, we learn her backstory, which is incredibly tragic.
Hold on. With the shield, he could have. The shield was like to prevent him from like breaking it or something, and like he could have punched her around the shield, but he purposely punches her. He just keeps hitting her through the shield.
Well, yeah, it's gotta hurt more, right?
I guess it's so great. Anyway,
But so basically, it's explained that the reason why this woman keeps saying that her and Mash are so similar is that she was born with a thing called the evil eye, and she doesn't really explain what that is. But I will explain because I've said it before on this show. If she looks at someone, they can't use magic. That's the thing. Her parents hated her. They locked her in a basement. They literally tried to murder her.
Okay, I have that slide as well.
Like this show just like has
really dark at it. Yeah.
Yeah, this show has this thing of like it's really funny and cool and really just a good time, and then it'll throw like, hey, Mash, you want to be systematically murdered by the world you live in, and hey, this girl, your mother tried to strangle you to death.
I think this is what makes good shonen to me, is that extra edge, because of the fact that like the audience that this is for is kids who are just at the age where they are realizing that like maybe my parents aren't the best people, maybe I'm not the best person, maybe the people around me can't be trusted, you know, like, and it's a show that really, you know, like I think these characters, again, like every character in this episode's problem is my parents had like ridiculous expectations of me, and I suffered for it. And I love that Mash literally says to this girl, like, I don't really understand. My dad was great, but I think we should be friends. And she's like, I don't really know if we could be friends because we're in different, like, groups, but, like, you should really stop. Like, you know, you've been nice to me. You shouldn't keep, like, trying to fight these guys. And Mash is like, look, I'm going to keep fighting. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to, you know, I'm going to go and beat those guys up, and then we're going to be friends. So that's Mashal. We got a couple super chats from ASE Presents, or I guess one's a rewritten.
Well, they're
version
the
of
same
other.
super chat, but one is double the amount, which is funny.
It's $5.
I mean, I
and
appreciate
$10.
it.
Thank you much. And I assume this is Riley. Says, I like how the One Punch Man manga is drawn okay and then redrawn expertly with what a wild production style. Does anything else in anime or manga do that? I haven't seen any of the anime yet. Kind of, in a way, because one who created One Punch Man. So like
His name's One?
Yeah, he became an entity to draw One Punch Man as a webcomic, and it's literally created to teach himself how to draw. The guy did not know how to draw, but he has a really natural knack for paneling and layouts, and a lot of his layouts are very anime-esque in the first place. So the artist who did a very popular shonen sports manga called Eye Shield 21 about American football, with like these cool, badass, edgy characters, that artist redrew One Punch Man, like using the original as basically a storyboard, but like made the art incredibly fucking badass. And that's what, of course, got adapted into anime. And like, but the manga has such anime-esque sequences that like people were already like creating like just like putting the panels into a slideshow that animates quick enough that it looks like animation. So the show is often like just directly translating, like drawing for drawing, what was already done. One also created Mob Psycho 100, which is, you know, another manga that he drew. That one never got redrawn.
Oh my god,
but
Mash
he's
is
just got
Mob.
better art.
Mash looks like Mob.
Mash does look a little bit like Mob, but like if
I haven't seen Mob Psycho
actually,
100.
it would be really so
I
Mob.
only watched like one episode, and it was cool, but I still don't care.
What's so great about that comparison is that like Mob's thing is he's the most powerful psychic in the world, but the girl he likes doesn't care about that. She's only into like
No,
big
like,
muscle heads.
Look how much he looks like Mash, actually, though. Like, it's the
I
same
definitely see
outfit,
it.
it's the same hair, it's the same blank expression.
What I'm trying to communicate to you is if he lives up to his goals, he will look like Mash because he's trying to get swole, but he's a weak little baby. But anyway, that was Mashal. Good show. I like it. Now we're moving on to this isn't
This
to
is...
Mahou Shoujo Magical Destroyers. The weirdest, hardest to explain.
Oh, did I watch this one?
You did. You seem to like this one.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, it didn't seem super polished, but also, yeah, this is my shit.
The opening scene is just like red magical girl in an all red space. Like it's just like a bunch of trippy imagery, and you were like, "Well, this is cool. What the fuck's going on here?"
Who's the dude that made near the Nier games?
I'll find it.
I haven't played those games, but it seems like something like he
Moonhead
would make or something.
I
don't know.
totally
Like,
get that.
It just seems like a very anime's person's idea of what avant-garde is. Like,
Yes.
Yoko Taro?
Yes, Yoko
Yeah.
Taro. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Guy
isn't
with
an
the
anime character. I've seen this face
No,
a
that's
lot.
just a real
That's
guy.
Just a thing
Yeah,
that
he
guy
just
walks
wears
around
the
with?
helmet,
Yeah.
or the mask.
Well, he'll only do interviews in that. I mean, it's a character from the games, but yeah, he'll only.
Oh,
show
I
up
didn't know that. I've never. Yeah,
Do you think it's an influence from Slipknot?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
So, the new Magical Destroyers, this episode, like all of them, is incredibly weird. It had some cool stuff in it. It had some parts where I was kind of like, okay, well, they didn't need to talk about that for 5 fucking minutes, but I guess that's a part of my life that I experience now. So basically, like, it starts off with Red is just tripping balls in her dreams, and she wakes up, like, crying and hugging onto a Otaku
I
hero.
do feel it is worth mentioning she is the only magical girl whose name is not a color. She is Anarchy-chan.
Well, that's not even her real name either. That's, like, her chosen
Yeah, she has, like, a
name,
real name, but, I mean...
I guess that would be dead naming her to call her
Yeah,
that,
come on.
right? Blue's always
It's 2023.
dead naming her. So, yeah, Anarchy, I guess she's just having nightmares about the purple girl who looks just like her, like, you know, and has tormented them. She's worried about it. So, basically, the last episode, the Otaku threw this big wank fest, and the government showed up and blew it up with the big head, the transforming head dude. The last episode was fucking strange. And basically, it ended with Purple Magical Girl shows up, kills the bad guy they were fighting, and then
As she
fucks
has
off.
done with all of the other bad guys they've
Yeah.
been fighting.
So
Our heroes have not won a fight once.
it's starting
That's kinda
to
cool. I
it's
kinda
it's starting to occur to our characters that, hey, maybe the government is like just setting all of this up, like, or the organization, the SSC, I think.
SSC.
SSC. Like, maybe this is all like a crazy setup. We're really never gonna know unless we go actually storm their headquarters. Like, if we're just sitting around waiting for them to kill us off, like, we're never gonna make any progress. So let's bring the fight to them. Let's make it us this time. this scene is just weird because it's literally like 8 minutes of otaku kind of just having errant conversations and hanging out in between planning what's happening.
The last episode ended with Purple going, "Hey, you have a day before I come back and fuck your shit up." And so they're all partying for some reason instead of preparing. Whatever, sure. I'd probably party too.
I guess they're all just panicked thinking they're gonna die until Otaku Hero like gives a rousing speech that like, what if we brought the fight to them instead? But like we introduce a couple of characters who are different brands of otaku. This guy is the train otaku, of course, a classic brand of
Very
otaku. He's never actually been to this station that he wants to go to, so he's dreaming of getting to go there. And yeah, there's just like a scene here's Otaku Hero. If there's a way to win, it's gotta be this.
Oh, do you got a screen cap of all the Game Boys? The Game Boys is the best
I
part.
don't think I had the
Game
Game
Boys.
Boys. Are they all just playing Game Boys at one point? Or
Yeah, that's how they're all doing. Like, there's a bunch of K-pop singers, and then
Yes.
it's like all these otaku celebrating in different ways.
They basically end up, because like the previous episode was the Wank Fest, which is why all these people gathered. But now that they're all still gathered, they're basically just still doing the Wank Fest, but without the stage. It just becomes like a more regular festival, I guess. This is kind of what Pride was like. It's such a much prettier park.
They did have Smash and Mario
They
Kart
did.
hooked up.
I
Oh
wish I
yeah,
had
that
played
was like some kind of
games.
game convention or something, right?
We were walking by it, and I literally
'Cause-
went, "Oh my god, it's too many games!" But it was like KC Gamers or something.
I do want to know what convention that
Oh,
was.
Also, anyone who's going to too many games, I'm sorry, we won't be there. I will miss all of you. I will try to be there next year.
I'm not sure what that convention is. Maybe
It's a big gaming convention in Philadelphia. I mean, if you have time.
I want to go to Awesome Games Done Quick. I might try to hit
Awesome
Ooh.
Games.
Or-
Awesome Games Done Quick,
The
AGDQ.
speedrunning,
It's
yeah.
the speedrunning event that like is
They-
probably the best known speedrunning thing.
that. They seem like my people.
Is that like a here thing or?
No,
that's the inner. I'm really shook. Do you not like speedruns?
He's not. He didn't
I've
get to
watched
play
some of
video
them.
games till he was like 17. So
Yeah.
Oh,
he's not
shook.
very.
I mean,
not very
I've
familiar with gamer
watched
culture.
speedruns now. Like when I got into Elden Ring, that was when I first really got into speedruns, and then I've seen a couple Tears of the Kingdom speedruns. And Tears of the Kingdom speedruns are fucked up because it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit through cutscenes for 50 minutes and play the game for 12, and then
Yeah.
I beat it.
Some games are not great for it.
Where is this?
But anyway, so these otaku are hanging out, and the train otaku's talking about how he wants to go to this station, and everybody's like, you declaring that you want to go do that is a big death flag. You are definitely gonna die. And then the dude who's always wearing a mask is like, it doesn't have to be a death flag. And also, I like this idol girl, and maybe they're all like, what if she would date you? She's right over there, and she's like, not a chance. So basically,
this will come back in a bit and be really annoying.
So, well, I think they did that for like a meta reason, but we'll get to that. So they're going to go storm the Capitol or whatever. They've got their extendo punchy arm with the brass knuckles on it, and
I love
like
Kids Next
squirt
Door.
guns. This does have total Kids Next Door energy. Although this shot has total Maho Shoujo lyrical Nanoha energy, because the purple-haired magical girl shows up again, and now she's got two assistants who are like these badass gothic nightclub dancer-looking people, one with guns and one with an axe. I do wish the artwork was a little bit better.
Well, and so this fight will go on,
Designs
and
are
it will
cool.
become increasingly more clear that, like Purple is the opposite to Anarchy-chan, these other two are just the opposite to
Yeah.
Pink and Blue.
They basically break off and fight Pink and Blue, and at the moment where, like, we don't see the reveals of their faces in this episode, but it's obvious
But they
that
use
they are,
powers that Pink and Blue also use, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're
gonna
rivals.
be the dark versions of them.
Just like Nega Scott in Scott Pilgrim vs.
Yeah.
the World.
We're in bullet hell right now. Well, and Nega Scott himself is inspired by Dark Link from Ocarina of Time, which is just
Well, but Nega Scott,
Link, but
like,
dark.
Do you think that's the first instance?
No, but I think it's the most famous like video gaming instance. And I know Scott Pilgrim
forget
would be
about
referencing
Dark
that.
Link because my only exposure to him is as a skin in Super Smash Brothers.
Wait,
Yeah, well,
wait,
that's all there is to him.
wait.
like,
In which Zelda game?
Ocarina of Time.
Because there's a Dark Mega Man in the first Mega Man game.
Really?
Yeah,
Wait, in the first Mega Man game?
yeah.
It's not Proto Man or
No, they're
I didn't know that was a Dark
No, that's a
Mega Man.
band, honey.
Stop.
No, yeah, you go.
Oh,
It's...
Dark Mega Man looks cool.
Let me
Oh,
see.
I didn't mean he's literally called Dark Mega Man. I mean you fight like a negative version of Mega Man.
Who are you talking about?
God fucking damn it!
No, there's a lot of Mega Man
No,
characters.
No, he's just a boss. It's
There's
just
a lot of
you
people
just
that
fight
are called Mega Man. Also, like
basically
it's not
you
even
just
just
fight
one.
yourself, whatever.
We're in bullet hell right now. They're declaring as they storm the Capitol.
I wish they said Toho.
I played. I got to play a Toho. Oh, if anybody who doesn't follow my Twitter won't know about this, but on the way into St. Louis in like St. Charles or something.
Yeah, it's St. Charles.
There is a
Two plumbers brewing and something.
It's
arcade. Brewing
yeah,
and arcade.
I will be going at some point.
It's a brewery arcade, and their beers were kind of mediocre, but the games were fucking crazy good. I played. I assume it was just like the latest Toho. The same machine had like a couple cave shooters in it, so I played one of those. They had a machine at the front of the store that's like a weird game of the week, and they had Cotton 2, which is not a game that's even been released in America. Not a lot of people, unless you're a big time like scrolling shooter fan, you've probably never heard of Cotton, but she is an adorable little magical witch who flies around on a broom and shoots at flying enemies. I love it.
Oh, I didn't know her name, but I think I know who you're talking about.
It's really hard though. I didn't make it very far into any of those games. I also played some House of the Dead, some Time
Fuck out of me,
Crisis,
cat.
some fucking
Hi.
Initial D4, some fucking.
I played Gradius 3.
Why are you being nice
I-
to me?
That game's fucking hard.
Those are hard as fuck. I could not beat a Gradius. Well, I can't beat any fucking bullet.
I
hell
beat the
games,
furry.
but-
There's a furry shmup. I forget what it's called.
Except for Toho 9
First
on
time.
normal mode. So, as they're raiding the Capitol, the dark version of Red is kind of like becoming self-aware of the fact that she might be like literally some kind of weird Dark Link situation, which I think is fun. But more importantly, Otaku Hero makes it to where the final boss of the enemy is supposed to be, but there's just like a TV drawn on, like a TV with a face drawn on it that's making a different expression, implying that, you know, the Bowser's in another castle, not your princess, but your Bowser's in another castle. But in this guy's lap is
A book where it's basically the storyboard of everything that has happened in the show up until now.
It is literally the show's storyboard. He finds the entire storyboard lying in this guy's lap, and as he's reading through it, he catches up to the present and is like, this is a really cool sequence where it's going back and forth between the storyboard and the reality of what's happening. And like he's reading the story of all of the friends dying in exactly the generic ways they were set up for. Like, the show is trying to subvert the idea that they were all going to generically die, and then makes them die as generically as possible. You know, Bag on Head Man is like, he's out in Lurch fighting, and he's like, oh, we're not going to make it. And then the idol girl's like, hey, didn't you say you were going to take me on a date later? And then she blows up, and like just her shoe is left, which I thought that was fun. That she just like fucking evaporates, and then, you know, he gets killed, and, you know, it cuts back, Otaku Hero's flipping through, everybody's dying. The magical girls take their drugs and unlock their big forms at the end, but he
it's
seems
also
to...
revealed that like in the storyboard that the drugs were kind of a trap, I think.
Yeah, so he's like, no, don't take the drugs, but they, you know, obviously he's not in the same place they are. Basically, yeah, the episode just ends with some storyboards and like someone saying, oh, a big twist, and that's the end. So it was
yeah,
a trip.
very surreal, very paranoid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Very paranoid.
Very meta, very pretentious, saving on budget.
Who is your favorite character in this show,
I
Quinn?
don't know anybody's name in this
Just,
show.
you know, describe them.
Honestly,
I'll
they
figure it
didn't
out.
really
Didn't
show
I-
a lot of personality.
Wait, didn't
in
I
this
super
episode.
love like I wanted to copy the outfit of the red-haired girl.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Anarchy. You were really into
Before she
Anarchy's hand.
transforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that outfit would be very easy to copy, and it looked really good. So.
And I would not be surprised if, because this show is created by a fashion designer, if those clothes actually exist. Just like from him.
That guy's great. We love
Shout
him.
out Jun Inagawa. And here's another show that you watched with us. And
Pokemon?
this is particularly interesting to me. So this show,
Not
Pokemon
me.
Horizons. Well, it's interesting to me to talk to you about it, is what I mean to say, because This has been the most boring show for us to talk about on here. It's literally for babies.
Oh, okay.
Why did I choose to
That's
talk
good to
about the
know.
new Pokemon?
Because it's so fun. It's really a good time.
Oh, Bird likes it.
I do love this
Bird
show.
likes
No,
it a
truly.
lot.
I played Scarlet and Violet, and that's
Yeah.
mostly what they're playing
Well,
off of with this.
Yeah, so that's what the show's for, and so we're
It's
getting
so-
some out of it.
I'm baby.
Well, and for me, it's also like, so this. I mean, we're on episode 10 of this show, which means we are 10 episodes into Ash not being the main character of Pokemon ever. So I've been watching Pokemon since 1998, and
And let's be honest, Ash is kind of a little bitch. He's not a good main character.
2 years before I was born.
very much disagree. But I as much as I love Ash, I love Pokemon. I've loved many of the seasons of the show, even though I've never finished any of them all the way through. I was very ready for a change, and I want to see where the show goes now that it's resetting. What is it trying to be? And mostly it's trying to be fucking slow. It's trying to be the most granular, take your fucking time, nothing's really going to happen ever for episodes on end. Which, you know, if you're trying to make a show that's thousands of episodes long, I don't blame you for not trying to make it hyper dense. I just wish it was like funnier, or had a little bit more of a pulse, or like a point.
Has anything happened in it?
Maybe more fun of music like the old show had. I don't
But
know.
isn't it interesting though? Because Bird was getting a lot out of it. It was all about the
He
references.
was.
Well, 'cause
and
this-
the video game.
With this, they're starting to, like, take the mechanics from the game and introduce them into the show, which they had done a little bit up until now. But now we're literally at a gym leader
Yeah.
with the gym challenge
Which-
that is in the game.
And I should mention, the reason I was interested to talk about this with Quinn is that you are not very familiar with Pokemon at all, it seems.
There are Pokemon that I would, like, say the name of and you just didn't know who they were, which is a trip for me, because, like, I don't know, I grew up with Pokemon, and we're pretty similar age. So.
There's plenty of Pokemon
again,
I don't know the name.
the only Pokemon I have experience with is I keep talking away from the mic.
Get on the fucking mic!
Yeah, my bad.
Sorry, that's a Dick Masterson thing.
I emulated Pokemon Emerald on my iPhone 3, and I didn't beat it. I got like 20 hours into it.
That was my favorite Pokemon game ever.
I
I've
think
been
I looked
trying
up,
to
like,
buy a
those
copy of
Pokemon.
it, like a legit one.
I think I own it.
I own a fake copy of it that works.
I think
So, like, the cartridge and everything.
Maybe
You own Pokemon
yeah,
Emerald?
Crazy. I think I own it.
You could probably sell that for like $75
Yeah, no,
if you
like,
wanted to.
Oh, really?
pristine
I
conditions of
own
that
a-
sell for, like,
well,
hundreds of
I also
dollars.
own a copy of Chibi Robo, which that game goes for 200,
shit.
200 plus
Nice,
dollars.
nice.
Yeah.
Don't get rid of that
Thanks
one.
to my friend and
Actually, don't get rid of either of those yet. Those prices will just go up.
Don't get rid of Emerald. I'll buy it when I have the money.
I have to raid my closet, see if I still have it. What were we talking about?
Pokemon. Look at all of them. Look at how cute they are. They're in the grass Pokemon
It's a
town.
Skiploom, and I don't know what this one's called, but it
They-
looks like a radish.
These aren't particularly cute. They just kind of put faces
Look
on
how
things.
look how chill look how chilled out these
you are
Pokemon
right.
are. They're sleeping. They're having a good time.
This show.
What I wanted.
I do feel like this show presupposes more caring about Pokemon than previous shows did, because Pokemon, like the old show, didn't usually introduce a whole bunch of new Pokemon in one episode. It would be like, hey, we're gonna meet Bulbasaur, and we're gonna learn everything about Bulbasaur, and by the end of this episode, you might really care about Bulbasaur. This show will just throw like dozens of fucking Pokemon at you and just be like, hey, you know this one, and like if you do, then you're like Bird, who's like, oh my god, it's X Pokemon.
Ellen said that they did reveal the magical girls in Mahosh, the opposite magical girls. So
like
like
their faces.
yeah.
I guess I missed the screen cap.
me
of that
too.
then.
The opposite to Pink is apparently green, and she has a plague doctor mask instead of a gas mask. You
Oh.
cannot lay on me and try to attack me at the same time.
In any case,
How's she doing it?
the
Trying.
so they go to Grass Town. They meet this girl who I guess you said is your rival in the game, which
Nimona is her name. Yeah, she's the most annoying person ever.
well, and so this is where this episode kind of broke apart for me, because when we saw the next episode preview, you were excited like, oh, that's the rival from the game. That's the first gym leader. Like this is gonna be like the game, and that made me think maybe the plot will get a little bit more structured.
No.
They really just kind of throw this girl in, like they see her having a battle, and then they talk to her a little bit, but she's not like super relevant to the main plot of the episode. It just feels like they were like, hey,
maybe this is the best.
here's a character.
Like, because video game movies suck, right? Maybe this is
Yeah.
the best video game to media adaptation where it's literally like, I know that in the game, they did it. And then, I don't know.
It really feels like that because I don't know who this character is. I didn't play Scarlet and Violet, so I just kind of met her and was like, okay, she's got a cool design. What's her deal? I never learned her deal. I don't feel like we learned her deal. Do you remember this character showing up, Quinn? Like,
Oh, well, yeah. I remember.
What's your impression of her?
I just remember
like,
you guys saying that she was annoying. I don't remember.
I mean, through the game, she's pretty much just like, we need to have the best Pokemon battles ever. And if Pokemon trainers, Scarlet and Violet is very much just re-explaining Pokemon to a new generation, which I kind of hated.
Kind of are.
But then, it kind of has a Breath of the Wild thing going on, where you can beat the game however you want.
It's very open world compared to other Pokemon games.
Or fucking, why did I say Breath of the Wild? Tears of the Kingdom. That's the one I've played.
So, basically, this meandering start of the episode eventually leads our characters to this guy's house. He's the grass gym leader, and he also is an artist. He's got this house that's all overgrown with moss, and he's got Pokemon statues outside. Kind of reminds me of the Ghibli studio or museum, but, like, not nearly as intricate or cool. Actually, look that up. If you've never seen what Ghibli studio or Ghibli museum looks like, just Google that. And
I
it's
want
really
to
cool.
go to Japan.
But yeah, this is like a kind of.
Let's all go to Japan.
We're going to Japan.
All right, it's planned now.
I think what makes me feel so complicated about this show is that like
Museum.
there's so many layers of design in this show where like individually there's some Pokemon that look amazing, right? Like
trans rights.
what's this guy called? Flygon? Oh my god, what
Yeah,
the hell? I
Flygon.
didn't know about
Yeah.
this.
No, Tropius. His name is Tropius.
The Trans Museum,
This sculpture of the Stegosaurus looking motherfucker with leaf wings, his name is Tropius. He was so overpowered in
I don't
Emerald.
think that's intentional.
No,
but-
I don't.
But it does look like the
but,
trans
yeah.
flag. But yeah, no. So this anime, did these sculptures exist in the game specifically?
Dude, you're
Of
nuts.
like the Pokemon bird? Did these sculptures exist in the
No,
game?
not at all. No,
specifically?
he's an artist. Yeah, absolutely. He's not depressed in the game. It's not like this introduces a lot of extra shit explaining why you have to do the gym challenge to get him out of his shell. I don't. Why can't they just be gym challenges? In Scarlet and Violet, they're literally introduced as like a standard of the test of beating the gym leader. You just have to do it to fight the gym leader. In this, it's like, oh, he's depressed, so we have to find a bunch of Sunflora to make him happy, ? So he gets out of his artist block?
Yeah.
I mean...
They're trying to make him like not tired enough that he will have a fight with them, basically. So
It doesn't-
what I'm trying to focus on is just this Tropius statue. Because
I love Tropius.
So Tropius is a cool Pokemon design in and of itself. The idea of having, completely separate from like as a video gamer catching the Pokemon, using the Pokemon, having some kind of relationship with it, seeing it represented somewhere else in the world artistically, that's the places where Pokemon is the most successful with its world building to me. Where like the insistence on the Pokemon like transcends the marketing and becomes part of the actual world building, and it's easier to get excited about these creatures and everything when the characters themselves are excited about them. I think this show unfortunately goes a little too far with like not really justifying the excitement. It's just like a character sees Pokemon and is like, oh my god, it's a cool Pokemon, I can't wait to learn everything about it. And I guess Ash was kind of like that, but the characters around him were cynical about it. Like Misty and Brock made fun of him for being so basic and
Like, yeah, you asshole, that's just a Squirtle. Shut the fuck
But
up.
I guess if you're a
Exactly.
little kid and you really love Squirtle, you see a squirrel in the show, you're like, holy shit, it's a squirrel.
Well, especially the way that show chose to tackle Squirtle with the Squirtle Squad. I
Yeah.
hope I want them to come back.
pretty iconic.
I have no idea what the Squirtle Squad is.
It's like 5 Squirtles.
Oh, it's
and
5
sunglasses
Squirtles, and one of them has
who
sunglasses.
commit crimes.
That sounds fucking sick.
Hang
All right,
on.
this is a great show.
Let me show you the Squirtle Squad because they're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty into this show now.
So basically,
Oh, that's not from this
One-
show. That's
once
from the
I-
original Pokemon.
Oh, shit.
That's the Squirtle Squad.
Oh my, I feel like I've seen them in memes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You
so
need to
so
stop trying
the
to
the
attack
guy,
me.
the artist, yeah, they meet him. He's got like writer's block. He's all tired and fucked up. He
I'm
doesn't really wanna do
impressed
shit.
how peaceful she is.
Yeah, me too.
We learned that because Lico's Sprigatito is a grass type. It can like make other grass types feel good, I guess, with its pheromones. and shit.
Nyahoja. No, it's that when she is in sunlight, she produces a sweet smell.
Okay. But basically, they've come to realize that this artist man has done this epic
Well,
sculpture.
this is after the fight, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Before the fight, they find out. Why would I have organized this recaps?
Well,
like
I
that?
just thought they had seen. So they see the broken Rakuza statue first, and then I feel like after the fight they see the real one. I don't
think
know.
it breaks after they see it for the first time.
Okay.
Basically, they have a fight though. Long story short, it's Hogator versus Sudowoodo.
And Roy's like, "Oh, that's easy. This is a grass type Pokemon."
No, it's actually rock, and we've done this.
Which is,
Pokemon.
yeah, they've done this
Yeah.
Sudowoodo thing a lot. Hogator just starts getting really pissed off.
So this fight is not that interesting, but there are cute little animation moments when Sudowoodo like uses What's the move where you antagonize them, just like piss off the other Pokemon?
Well,
he pisses him off. This is Hogator getting all pissed off. It was a cute animation. But basically, it turns out that Hogator has a move where he can just like stomp on the ground repeatedly and do a bunch of damage, and so like in his angry state, I guess it's easier to do that, and so he's kind of kicking Sudowoodo's ass, but then the guy like turns it into a super Sudowoodo and kicks his ass. Whatever, I guess he was inspired enough to
he
make a new...
terastallizes is what it is. That's the mechanic that's introduced in Scarlet and Violet, and basically you can change your Pokemon's type from something to something else, or make just make its type more powerful.
This episode had a shocking amount of just random fucking exposition about concepts of the Pokemon world and games that like it's too like Pokemon has gotten so fucking complicated that they're trying to introduce like 20 years of mechanics as quickly as possible, and like again in the original show this kind of stuff would have had more weight to it. Like we would have had a whole episode just about this mechanic getting introduced, but here it's like at the end of the episode like he throws a thing at his Sudowoodo and then we have a whole fucking breakaway explanation of all the different ways that power could have worked if it was thrown at some other Pokemon or whatever. And it was like just way too much info. And I guess it inspired him to make a new art piece. Yeah.
And this art piece, I am convinced, is a Pokemon. Because he kind of implies that he didn't make it; he just found it, or something. And so this art piece is
found it inside of his soul.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. It's got to be a Pokemon.
I wanted to interject my autism rant about like, because I love watching Go videos where like. A lot of the, like, they're explaining, like, new games you've never seen before, and a lot of new concepts you've never seen before, but also a lot of concepts you have seen before, and there's something, you still get that dopamine hit of, like, I understand that concept.
Yes.
And I think that relates to what they're doing.
It was really funny playing Go with you last night, because, like, I was just not having any clue what I was doing, and I would take my turn just kind of not knowing. I would just place it wherever the fuck. And then you would go, oh, wow, so you just did this. And then, so I can do this or this or this. And you're saying, like, all these different terms. It was like, I just started playing this.
And that's how she felt watching Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know what the fuck.
And, no, I'm glad you brought up the dopamine thing, because you brought that up while we were watching the show. That, like, it really is, like, I got that reference. Like, that excitement of...
It's almost like, you know, I understand the mechanic, and I almost wonder if that's part of the appeal of watching shonen fights, too. It's like, oh, I understood how the power level interacted there. Yeah. I don't know, I don't watch shonen, whatever.
No, for sure, the metatextual stuff gets you. And, like, with Pokemon, I mean, speaking personally as a kid, like, I had an older cousin who had on tape the first 5 episodes before they started airing the show. So they were just, like, sending those tapes out all over the country to random people. So I first saw episodes like that, and then that same cousin started getting the cards, and he handed us down some Pokemon cards. And when you have the cards and you don't know anything about the show or the games, but you're just like, what the fuck is this thing? What is this butt-headed monster, Magmar? And then, like, you watch the show, and
Magmar doesn't have a butt for a head.
He has a butt for a head, a forehead. Anyway, so... you see the character on the card,
Oh,
and then
you're
you
right,
play the
shit.
game, and you're like, holy fuck, that's the fucking butthead Pokemon from the game, and now you know that he's got all these other moves, and then you watch the show, and now he's got a personality, and it's like, you just keep having more of it fleshed out, and even though none of it's like that meaningful, again, as a kid, just like seeing the same thing in two different places is fucking mind-blowing. And I still get like zaps of it like out in, because for like the first 15 years of Pokemon being a thing, only the most popular Pokemon had like products in stores, like were super mainstream. Now we've reached like a critical mass where after Pokemon Go, there's like hundreds of Pokemon plushies fucking everywhere, and it's just like, oh my god, they're making like toys out of these, Pokemon that never would have ever had anything made for them like 20 years ago, so that part trips me out. Still to this day, I still get those dopamine hits. Oh yeah, there's the mega, or not mega, what was this called again?
Terastallizing.
Wow. Alright, well that was it for Pokemon. What did you think of this episode?
Me? I mean, it's fine. It introduces a lot of stuff from the game. I'm happy with that. But also, can we get some story development, please?
It was ass, but also I don't care. 10 out of 10. Best episode.
I would also say it was not. I really got nothing out of this. Like that one Hogator face that he makes, where he's like kind of pissed off at the that face. That was the best thing that happened in this episode.
I want someone that cares too much to like meta dive on the artist guy on like that it was some metatextual commentary on art. But also that's kind of overdone anyway. So
That's
like
true.
even if it was.
All right, I would like to take a short bathroom break. So I'm going to mute the microphone for like a couple minutes, and we'll be back. Just hang out, talk amongst yourself, class.
I love that we have a cool enough audience that we can just like leave them alone for 5 minutes.
They're fucking adults, and they're not paying attention. They're dissociating and drawing or playing video games or something. Anyways, we'll be back in a couple minutes.
We are
Hello.
back.
Hey, we're back from bathroom break. Something
So-
you wouldn't have had to even skip over if you were listening to the edited version of the show on the We Watch Anime channel, linked in the description.
Really quickly, I'd like to go back to Mashal for a second because we don't have screenshots of it because it's the ED. But how do you feel about the ED of Mashal? Shoe Cream Funky Love?
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
This is my favorite. I mean, I skip through OPs and EDs mostly, but that one, it's just every time it's hard.
Whatever that surreal anime was, we watched the OP for that. I mean, you
Magical Destroyers.
you all already probably talked about it, but god damn.
That's the only reason we started watching it.
That OP, oh really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that OP is truly, it's a work of art on a...
I was like, there were several comments before I saw the show that just were like, you don't need to watch this anime, but you need to see the OP.
Yeah, for real.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I understand why you said this to me, especially.
I definitely will go watch it again shortly. It's so good.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. So the next anime we're going to talk about is Hell's Paradise. This is a very exposition-heavy episode, and we're not going to, like, re-explain everything explained in it, because that would be boring, and you could just be watching the show. But basically, the main character, Gabimaru, had his fucking ass rocked in the last episode by one of these, like, immortal
The Tensen.
demigod things called the Tensen. So, you know, he, like, washed up in a river with the mute little girl with superpowers that's been sort of helping him. And he was discovered by this big, cool, badass samurai who was established a few episodes ago.
He's the best. Tall boys win again.
And basically, him and Gabimaru... Oh, and this guy's also got, like, the guy who is watching over him. His executioner, should he ever do anything wrong, who is, like, the state disemboweler or whatever.
Well,
like,
so it's explained that the Yamada Asaemon are not just executioners. They're also... they take time to create medicine as well, and that seems to be this guy's specialty. He loves autopsying things.
Yes.
Or they... it's not... really clear.
Yeah, I guess they haven't really established a gender for that character, and this show certainly has a lot of gender play going on in it. So the big dude, I can't remember his name. It's Ryu something. I know that, and he's
cool guy with a big sword.
Him and Gabimaru are sizing each other up because he's like, you look like you've had your ass kicked recently, and Gabimaru's like, yeah, well, you look like you're walking with a limp. Cat issues.
What is it?
She's trying to eat
Narcan or something in that
Oh
bag.
shit! Yeah, she loves to play in plastic bags. You might have to put the plastic bag up.
I'll go put it away for real.
So anyway, they're sizing each other up. This guy sees Gabimaru. He's like, you look like you had your ass kicked recently. And he's like, yeah, but you're walking funny because your left arm must be too badly injured to use. And we flash back to him cutting his own hand off because he got stung by one of the turn you to flowers bees. What do you think gender this character is? The voice actor seems male, but there's been no established gender yet. And this show has a lot of...
I mean, they're cute.
They seem very aged.
Yeah, would you twink that little child, whatever that is?
I mean, not with that phrasing.
What are you saying right now? Stop.
I know how to do that without... Oh, yeah. Basically, he's like, we need to torture Gabimaru.
To get information out of him. Because
it has to be a guy because there's made such a huge deal out of the one woman who's in their group not belonging because she's a woman. So,
oh, you're right. He does. Yeah, that's. I fucking hate the Asaemon. They're so annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, I can get information out of him without killing him. Implication: is it sexier than torture? And
we can make this better.
basically, that's exactly what Gabimaru thinks, because he's like, hey, I could fight these guys, but why would I do that? I am not an assassin anymore. I'm a good guy now. I'm just going to ask them for help. So he does. They all start sort of trading information. I guess they're going to team up. We don't really revisit them in this episode. Also, I don't know if I got a screen cap of it, but the little pink-haired girl starts talking.
Which she also ages as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
didn't realize that.
Yeah, Gabimaru notices that she has somehow become like a teenage girl as opposed to a little girl. And the tall guy without a hand goes, well, you know, that's just one of the mysteries of the female development.
Amazing. So yeah, this is a little weird, but I think it's sort of implied that she starts giving the same exposition that Tree Man is to the other characters elsewhere.
So there's a power
big
system.
Brute Man here.
We're 11 episodes in, and we're getting a real power system finally. It's called Tau, I believe, which is different than Tan.
What is
Tan,
in this cup?
triple sec.
Okay.
That's a negative thing to me. Whenever an anime introduces the power system, I stopped watching JoJo on episode 4.
The first season?
Yeah.
Okay. You should
Come
check
on.
out the most recent season because it's the first female JoJo.
Oh,
and
really?
it stands. I feel like
It's
stands
all
is
set
a
in
big
prison
development.
Also. Anyway, so this group, man, they're basically, again, this is just a lot of exposition. I don't want to go through all of it. The main gist of it is that the fat dude, I can't remember his name, concludes that this cannot just be like heaven. This cannot be a real religious place.
This has got to be based on this dude that tried to overthrow the shogunate a while back.
Yes, because
Who-
this guy was a religion collector. Because there's stuff on this island that is themed out of Buddhism, themed out of Shintoism, themed out of Taoism. So, like, you know, it's not a consistent religious vision of a paradise.
Real quick, Amy Worrell said, Samurai is my second favorite. I like Yuzuriha more. Yuzuriha is the female ninja. I would like her more if we had any fucking concept of her as a character other than she is a slut.
She needs a real backstory instead of just like a fake one she made up. But I don't think we're gonna get that for a while. So then, meanwhile, we had the blind samurai who, you know, had trained blonde boy who died recently, who this girl was sort of falling in love with, and then, you know, had to watch him die. And she's like, everybody I care about dies. Please. Initially hesitant, but he's like, okay, so I'm blind, so the way that I see is I can read people's, I don't remember the word they have for it.
Tau.
Tau. I can
But
read people's Tau.
I don't know that he uses that word specifically because I don't know that he knows of that word yet.
Okay.
Because I don't know that they're getting the same exposition that the other two groups
Right.
of characters are.
But basically, he says that like everything emits waves all the time, and like as those waves move, I can, you know, I can sort of predict where things are going, and which is
It's
sort of
it's like a
realistic.
boomerang. You throw it and it comes back around again.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, when you move, you literally push a wave that's gonna hit a wall and then come back to you like sonar. So like, technically, if you could detect all the different like push and pulls of pressures, you probably could see pretty well. I don't think mere blindness will give you that ability, but you know, anime. So there's, you know, we've had established there's this big pit that if you throw humans into it, they turn into flowers.
And
they sort
this creates the source of immortality for the Tenzin somehow.
Yeah.
The Tan, which is what they call it. We
Yes.
saw it in the last episode. It's basically like a rainbow-colored drink that just gives you immortality and the power to turn into a man or a woman.
Oh.
Yes.
This show's fun.
I like
There's
that.
lots of gender fluid.
Whoa.
So the
What?
first-
Why
the-
didn't you,
creatures
why
in
didn't you
this.
show me this one? What the heck?
There were none in this episode, but we
Oh.
could show you the cool
So,
scene.
that's-
the cool lesbian makeout scenes.
My
in
whole
this.
input is I like that shot. That was a good screen grab.
So just to explain the Tenzin real quick, they're the immortal people, the people that have drunk the elixir, and we first get introduced to them maybe 4 episodes before this with 2 really hot girls making out in a group, like
I
just
like
a big
that.
field, and then they notice humans and they go, oh shit, humans, and they turn into men and just start kicking the shit out. Like, it's
Dude,
really great.
That sounds like the greatest
And then
scene ever.
the
Like, I
episode
think art
before
could end
this-
After that.
The episode before this, all the Tenzin are like in a group together and debating like, well, you know, I like being a woman because people just immediately look at your body, or I like being a man because it's form over function. You know, you can just kick the shit out of anyone.
Yeah.
This show is really interesting. This is actually the show that got us to start this show.
Those trans women that work out and they're fucking buff.
Oh my god, those I'm not gonna start
destroy
talking about all the
everyone.
girls that
Anyway.
I follow on Twitter. So these 2 guys had gotten thrown into this pit at some point, and they are crawling their way out. The 2 brothers.
Well, specifically, the Bandit King is crawling his way out because he's just
carrying his brother on his back.
yeah. This
like-
guy, well, yeah, this guy just has unhuman devotion or something or
He's just
power.
willpower. He's just
Yeah.
got sheer willpower.
Like, so we're at the screenshot. We're killing those shitheads, Toma. And Toma goes, "Are you sure? I don't think we can actually fight them." And he just says it like 4 more times.
He
We're
gives
killing
him
those
that
shitheads,
look. Look
Toma.
at this face. This is one of those, For me, anime, the best part of it is like that art can be expressive, and the biggest problem with most anime is that autistic people don't really know what expressions look like. Thankfully, this show has an understanding of faces. What a cool face! That is just the most like empty violence, just pure seething hate.
I just like blood, and that's
Yeah,
it.
the blood's
I like
cool,
blood
too.
on faces.
So Toma's about to just like eat the arm of somebody who is in the pit, and he's trying to feed it to the brother as well. He's trying to convince him to eat
Dude,
this.
this seems like my show, gender fuckery and just like blood and eating.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the
cannibalism,
most fun
intense
shot.
violence. It is really fun.
This is the first media that has kind of caused me to question how, cisgender I am. Just because, like, yeah, wouldn't it be fun to have tits?
This show did it.
Oh,
I get
oh
it.
my God.
I get it though. It's Ranma for me.
There was
Wait, what?
Ranma
Ranma 1/2.
The main character's a guy who falls into a cursed water pit in China that turns him into a girl, and now every time he has cold water poured on him, he turns female. Hot water turns him back.
Interesting.
So he doesn't identify as a woman, but there's one episode where he forgets about his male identity and just becomes like a 100% femme, and it's a really,
sick.
really
Wait,
interesting episode.
How do you spell that? What?
Ranma 1/2, and I think yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So,
someone was. Okay.
real quick, just because I had said, wouldn't it be cool to have boobs? This show was not the first thing that had ever made me think that thought. The first thing ever that did it, and this is a non sequitur because it's not anime. My dad was really into Radiolab growing up. It's an NPR show where they just do like random case studies on things. But one of them, the case studies they did is there was, I don't know that they're still around. There was a guy who was a mayor of a town, and the mayor of the town was basically, and I could be butchering this story, but basically the mayor of the town was like, tits are cool. I'd like tits. And then got tits. And then just continued to be a man, continued to be the mayor, but with tits. And it's a little appealing to me. But, because, I already look like I have tits in a dress. But,
You do, shockingly. That
I
dress
look like
just
I have less tits than it is.
that dress form fit you perfectly.
because it was small.
But I do know another trans girl that figured out they were trans because of Ranma 1/2. So
It is probably the most influential like gender fluid, at least Japanese media out there, because throughout the 90s like gender play became a big thing in anime directly because Ranma was so fucking successful.
Oh, interesting. I need to watch it.
It's 160 episodes long, and I don't recommend all of them, but I did once make a blog post about like what 100 episodes are like most essential. What's going on here?
Sorry, I just posted a picture because the cat was being really cute, and
Yeah.
Asher went, "She loves you. She's trying to be friends." And I said, "She's attacked me 15 times today." And Asher goes, "Friendships have their ups and downs," which with cats, absolutely
Which
true.
15 times is definitely an underestimation. It's like
Oh, no, I know. So we got home with food, and she was initially interested in the food, and then she realized, so I got those, like, the best way, like Aladdin pants, the poofy pants, but they're purple, and they're made of all kinds of different color. As soon as I got home, the cat was just constantly trying to attack the pants, and I can't figure out why, because there's no dangly shit, really,
It's
where
just
she was trying to
the
attack.
texture probably feels good on her claws.
I was pretty upset, because I was like, I just bought these. Can you,
So,
leave them alone for
Anyway,
a second?
these boys have made it out the pit, and they get visited.
I
by
just
this
cleaned up this mess. Can we
weird-
leave it alone for 5 minutes? Sorry,
It's
that's an
like-
Incredibles
I don't know.
reference.
He looks like a slug made of tree branches in a like
And
a
so
monk outfit.
he explains that so the big guys, the people that look like gods we've been seeing, they're I think Doshin or Soshin, one of the two, and they are basically scum. They're not evolved correctly, but this guy is part of some group, I don't remember their name, that study with the Tensen, and basically he shows up to go, "Hey, can you please get back in the pit?"
Yeah, he's like, he acts like he's being extremely reasonable towards them, and then is like, yeah, but you need to like die though, because that's what you're supposed to do. And they're like, well, we're obviously not going to do that, so they kick his ass. This was a weird scene because there's one moment that annoyed me in this episode. The guy they're fighting says, like in surprise, "Oh, you have like superhuman strength. You must have eaten some of the Tao." And then it's implied that he can see people by their Tao, and seeing him, like, well, he would have already known. If he is seeing him through the Tao, why would he not have known that anyway? That was annoying. Yeah, that's it for that episode. The last thing that's important is that the blonde guy has realized that the immortal gender fluid creatures, their weakness must be in their groin or stomach.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah, because he cut off the top half of them, and then they grew back up like roots. And,
Yes,
they're like
from
trees.
the, like, middle out. And I don't know how Gabimaru didn't figure this out when he, like, beat one to, like, a fucking pulp previously. But I guess he's not as smart as this guy.
Yeah, so the way I can kind of explain it is, like, Gabimaru's not really thinking like that. He's kind of just like, I want to see my wife.
How do I kill this thing?
I want to see my wife.
Possible. Yeah, and get back to my wife.
My wife.
So, yeah, that's Hell's Paradise. It was alright. It had some really fun scenes. It had a lot of expository dialogue that I'm sure I'll be happy about later, but currently it's just
7 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds right. This show, though, is a fucking flatline 3 out of 10 episode this week, because nothing fucking happens. Dead Mount Death Play. Quinn, are you familiar at all with Bakano or Durarara?
I watched a few episodes, but it was...
I watched the first episode and could not understand what was happening at all.
Same. Or, I don't know, I stuck with it a bit more. There was one cool episode with suicide. Anyway, yeah, what's your point?
Episode 2. I know
The person who made Bakano and Durarara made this show as well.
Oh.
Or made the manga that this show is based on.
He wrote the manga, and unfortunately...
Well, it's funny, because you told me that when we started the show, and I was like, oh, so it should be good, right?
Yeah, and my take has been that, like, I don't think the actual light novels of those are very good. The anime adaptations improved them a lot, and this one didn't. This one is probably exactly as bad as the manga that it's based on, which, again, he's a light novel author. This is a manga. Maybe he should have stuck to light novels. I'm just saying. The pacing of this episode is fuck awful. I think I only have, like, 6 or 7 screen caps, because... So... Basically, our main character, who is the corpse god from another world, reincarnated into a guy whose soul is now in a shark plushie.
Which is great. I love Polka.
Because Death God can, commune with the souls of the dead, he's been doing these fortune tellings. And this pair of cops, I guess they would be considered, like, kind of Ghostbuster cops, they are like, we need to learn more about Polka and all this shit that's going on with this. So basically he's like, let us do your fortune then. So he does the cops' fortune reading. He tells us a bunch of shit we already know about him. It's a ridiculously long and stupid scene. But eventually the pen, so there's like a haunted pen that is used in these seances, and the pen draws this symbol, and when this guy sees the symbol, he flips shit. He's like, why do you know this symbol?
Because his mentor had shown him this symbol, or drawn this symbol, and was like, remember this, and then she burned it.
Yeah.
No one else is going to know what this is, just remember it, it will be important.
Yes.
Eventually we learned the pen is his mentor.
Yeah, we'll get
which
to
is
that.
This show is...
The way it withholds information is so obnoxious, because, like, it definitely would have come up, like, who the pen's soul is. Like, it's weird of the pen to not have brought it up in any way, and especially because it's not brought up right after this happens. It's not like he leaves the room and then they go, hey, Pen, what was that about? Oh, you're the former commander. It's like 15 minutes later into the episode.
After we've gotten the whole backstory of the commander.
And then Pen's like, haha, you got me? It's like, what the fuck? Like, you could have just said it?
Ellen Horizon said, Dead Mount Death Play, Dead Mount Death Play, Dead Mount Death Play, Dead Mount Death Play.
It is really fun to say.
It's such a dumb fucking name, though.
I like it. I like how stupid it is.
Cemetery.
Yeah, it's like a cemetery song title.
I think we heard a cemetery song at Pride today, and I was like, "Is this
what? I missed. Oh,
I'm not sure. What I think it was like. Is this 100 Gex or something?
I remember that there was a song playing in the
sooner.
distance that I thought sounded like cemetery until I got closer, and I realized that it was just my brain filling in extra details in the noise. Anyways, they do this scene. He grabs him by the shirt and gets all heated, but then he calms himself down, and then he like gives him a fat wad of cash. So again, I complained about this with Oshi no Ko earlier. There are these certain autistic screenwriting habits where creators can't tell where they need to give more information and where it's not necessary. This is the most inexpressive fucking anime I have ever seen. The characters are always, look at them. They have no emotions. Nothing is being expressed. But
no thoughts, only corpse god.
like,
Head empty.
like the guy gives him all this money and he's like, I can't take this much. And he's like, don't sweat it. I'm giving you extra because I wrinkled your outfit. And it's like, we didn't need that explained. It was immediately apparent that that's why he gave him the
Also,
extra money.
Wrinkled his outfit? Like, I don't know. That's a weird reason to tip someone.
So then this is almost kind of a cute scene. The cops just like kind of go for curry afterwards, and Black Hair's just like, hey,
What the
man,
fuck did you just do?
what's going on with you there? But what's the Sam Hyde bit?
Hey, bud, are you all right? Hey, brother, what's going on with you, man?
Yeah, it's like
You just slammed a glass and tripped my wife. You just slammed a glass into her face after tripping my wife, and then the brother goes, "No, I didn't. What are you talking about?"
Dude, Sam Hyde memes are funny, and that makes me conflicted.
Look,
He's
he
such
is
a
funny and he is a shithead. I will admit that too. But I don't think he is on any one side of anything. He's trying to make everybody as
like
mad
a
as
boogeyman.
possible.
No,
Yeah.
he's factually donated to alt-right people.
Well,
Oh,
sure.
really?
Yeah.
Yes, he has. I agree. I just think when it comes to
And
his
it's obvious. If you're edgy like that, it's obvious. It's not.
you
You think you're being.
for you. Yeah.
You think you're being so smart. It's like, no, obviously you're. Anyway.
Anybody can be as edgy as humanly
J-Reg
possible.
is
You
super
just have
fucking-
to choose to do it.
J-Reg's super fucking edgy. He's just smart, and you know that he's smart
Yeah.
enough to not. Anyway, never mind.
Very different category of video style. Though.
Yeah.
If you like my old After Dark content, by the way, you should definitely watch J-Reg. That guy unintentionally, parallel thought, picked up the torch of the
He has a lot of different kinds of content. There is some of
That's
the
true.
stuff
He
that
has
I
a
would
lot of different really stuff.
agree with you
really
with, but
different
there's
shit.
a lot of his other stuff that is different.
Anyway, so these two characters are literally just like eating curry and like, what's up, bro? I don't remember why he's dancing around in this.
So basically,
Fire
we're
breathing.
again dealing. So Phantom Solitaire is trying to chase out the real fire-breathing bugs or whatever, and Phantom Solitaire comes to fire-breathing bug killing someone and just kind of taunts him again. Like he just hangs out. Hey, something's burning down. I don't care. I'm a silly dude. I would say, up until Phantom Solitaire was introduced, there was not a literally me character. But like Phantom Solitaire, in terms of the way he commits crime and why he does it, perfect. I would.
You do like this guy.
Yeah, no,
I
he's
want
great.
to like him
The
on
outfit
show.
too. Oh, that's the other thing. So in a mix of when we went to Boulevard the other night, and also Pride today, was like, I forgot how much I like wearing suits.
Yeah.
Because at Boulevard there had been a wedding going
swear
on
I've
or
heard you say
something.
that sentence like 12 times since we've been together. I forgot how much I like wearing suits.
Look, I had
Sounds like he's
one.
gonna wear suits.
I look great in a suit. But no. I watched How I Met Your Mother, and my dad is all so. How I Met Your Mother. There's Barney Stinson, right? And Barney Stinson's whole thing is nothing suits me like a suit. Men look great in suits. Yeah, exactly. But I had grown up with my dad, who worked in the Los Angeles restaurant industry, basically just going, yeah, no, tailored suits are the best thing a man can look in because they are literally made to look good in. You cannot go wrong with a tailored suit. And so I got my first tailored suit for prom, and then I bought my own probably about 2 years after that. I don't have either of those suits anymore because I have either grown out of them or treated them very poorly, unfortunately.
I might be able to get away with never wearing a suit again, and I'm pretty happy with it.
What about a pantsuit?
What's that?
Like a woman's suit, like basically a suit, but with like a skirt.
I think I would like to not do that.
Yeah.
Me neither.
No, I like wearing. I like suits mostly because I don't wear them correctly.
Oh, yeah.
There's a in a previous episode, Blonde Cop had come to this woman who runs like the information network, trying to get info about Polka. She wouldn't give him anything, and then he comes to her again, and he's like, "Hey, did you hire this underage kid into your organization? Because we protect people like that from people like you." And she's like, "No, I'm just working with him because he's really cool. Wouldn't you want to?" And apparently her, the commander that guy, the commander that's in the pen was also her senpai, I guess. So
Well, no, they were working together.
She calls him a senpai at one point. She says like, "Oh, that senpai, all he cares about is money, and he wouldn't even remember
The pen.
me." Yeah.
The pen is a woman. Just to be clear, the
well,
pen is a woman. It's very like Chainsaw Man, the girl with the eye patch. That's what I got out of the pen's character.
So,
and then the grocer. Yeah, this scene sucks. Sorry, we haven't really been laying in on it. This episode kind of sucks because
it's bad. We're already like 15 minutes into it. Almost nothing happened. It was just tons of boring conversation that's super repetitive and redundant. Just like that sentence. This is Phantom Solitaire going to the grocer, who is, again, Okay, so previously in the show, when the grocer is mentioned, it cuts to a prison cell that has a full storefront on it. And we talked about how preposterous and hilarious and fun that was because of the implications. And then this episode reintroduces the grocer by spelling out the implications twice. Like, isn't it so crazy that he has so much pull within the government that he can have a store run out of his prison cell? Even though nobody else is allowed to have anything in their prison cell, this guy's allowed to because he's got so much influence with the government. It's that redundant. And now you all had to suffer it just like I did. So, I don't know. This scene is cute.
we don't know that the grocer is a he or a she, to be honest, because they're wearing a mask and a hood. That's the grocer in the background there.
Yeah.
There's no way to know.
So, basically, the tenor of this conversation is that the grocer trades info for info, and it's like, if you give me worthwhile enough info, I'll give you similarly worthwhile info.
And the first info that Phantom Solitaire gives, the grocer's like, yeah, I fucking knew that, asshole.
He says, you have a negative account balance now. So he gives him info so bad it puts him in debt. That's kind of funny. Basically, the info he keeps giving him is still bad, but eventually he concludes, well, actually it's kind of interesting that somebody who's as good as a thief as you are is such a fucking idiot and thinks in such a weird way, so I guess that's valuable information, so I'll tell you what you want to know. Very ass-backwards anime logic, but that's how we got to the end of the episode. Thank God it's over. We're not going to say any more about that episode of Dead Mount Deathblade. This episode of Kamikatsu
is also bad.
Kind of was mid. It was, I don't know, maybe like a 5, if that. So at the end of the last episode, we basically wrapped up this arc of the sex
Dakini
goddess, or fake goddess, if you will. They've got her tied up. She basically is like,
do whatever you want to me.
Expecting / hoping that they're just going to like rape her, I think. And
this show is pretty strange when it comes to sexual stuff, because it's not like Dangers in My Heart.
This one's over the top and right in your face about it, for sure. Well, I mean, and she's been just sexually manipulating people as part of her cult for like a while. So
real
I guess
quick,
she's expecting to get it like back the way she gave it out.
Dakini and Attar are archons. Archons are like pseudo gods, basically. They're all named after gods. I just looked up Dakini because I had not been aware of her. Dakini is apparently the most sacred aspect of the feminine principle in Tibetan Buddhism. So interesting.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Buddhism. I don't know what they feel when it comes to sex, but
so this scene is incredibly strange. Basically, the sex goddess is sort of expecting some kind of sexual torture, but they don't do that. They just tell her, you're going to join our team, and she's like, fuck you, and they're like, fine, and they just leave the room. And then they come back, and so her star pupil, the purple-haired girl, Rieze, who... in previous episodes...
Rish. Her name is Rish.
In previous episodes, it was established that she can make anybody come with words alone, but she's never actually had
goals.
Sex. She's just really good at talking to people
And
about
the reason
sex.
that Rish... it's not really the reason Rish joined, but it's definitely the reason Dakini got Rish, is that Dakini was really close with Rish's mom. And we explained this in the last
Dakini
episode.
didn't know that. She didn't know that she was her mom.
She didn't?
Found that out at the end of the last episode.
She found that out at the same time Rish did. Okay.
So basically she grew up reading erotic books that Dakini had written, and that's why she learned about sex, but she has never actually had it. And so our main guy, who has been trained in resisting sexual torment, basically, was like reversing all her abilities on her to make her go sub mode.
So I have a friend whose dad would exclusively call anime hentai. Not because he mixed up.
I've known a few people like that.
Because he just thought all anime. Not because he mixed up the words, but because he legitimately thought all anime was porn, and and usually when he walked in on us watching anime, it was I don't know. Anyway.
You remember my video "Anime is Degenerate"?
Oh no.
Basically, I just argued that no matter what it is definitely gonna make you worse.
I don't know if it's true, but
you have to use it.
A funny anecdote.
You have to use it responsibly. Use anime responsibly, kids. Don't listen to this if you're a kid. Fucking stop.
Minors DNI.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever the hell that. Do not inquire.
Inquire.
Wow! I just figured that out for myself.
So, anyways,
I thought it was.
Riche,
you're probably right. Whatever you think.
Basically, Riche is. This scene is so confusingly structured. Like, they walk into the room and Riche has the main character tied up, nipple clamps,
calling him Piggy, and
full on
kind of hot,
him.
a little hot,
She's doming the fuck out of him.
Well, just the doming aspect. I don't want to be called Piggy.
He's
It was just unexpected because in the last few episodes he's been doming her easily, whereas in this one she suddenly pulls it off on him. And
initially you think, just based on the previous actions of Yukito, the main character, oh, this is a bit.
Yeah.
And then you learn it's not really a bit.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, they're doing it because they're trying to convince Dakini that do not interact.
Do not interact. Okay.
They're trying to convince Dakini hey, look, we're still hypersexual. You totally want to hang out with us, And
Dakini basically goes, yeah, but I'm not going to give you what you want. I don't remember what it is they want, but...
So, yeah, it was just really weird that the framing of this scene was, we're gonna earn her trust by, I'm gonna dom you in front of her, and, I don't know, it seemed like he was into it, or at least
she convinced him that it was okay.
Yeah, so...
that is a good point, that, BDSM is not usually portrayed positively. It's weird that it's this torture, it's in a very negative connotation here.
Actually, this scene, it's happening to him in a very forceful way, but he just did the same thing to her in the last 2 episodes, and it was very clear she liked it. There's a scene of her going, "It's not consensual, but," and then, coming all over the place, so...
Literally, wets her pants is coming all over the place.
No, this is the most hypersexual, non-pornographic,
and so,
anime I have ever
I don't know
seen.
how this could be non-pornographic.
It airs on television.
With these themes,
there's no penetration. There's not any direct.
I'm
tits.
Fascinated what the fuck this show is saying.
Well, mostly
it's
saying,
really hard to
gauge
what the fuck it's saying.
Out of me, I think.
Who makes this show? Who created this concept?
It's based on a light novel, I'm sure.
They're trying to say something, right?
So main guy, and we haven't really told you what the plot of this is. His dad was a leader of a very successful cult of muscular dudes, and trained him his whole life to learn how to run a cult, and he wanted him to take over the cult. He has no interest, so he asked. He prayed.
So wait. It's important where he prays. So
yes.
As a manhood ritual, the cult puts him in a barrel and throws him into the ocean. And as he is drowning, he is praying to his god, Mitama, one of the main characters, "Hey, I want to be in a world where there are no gods."
Yes. And eventually we learn a few episodes later that where he ends up getting taken to
is
is
just
not,
the future Earth.
Yeah, it's just the future of Earth where technology reached a point where a computer was running society. They broke that computer at the end of the first arc.
It's strange to compare it to this, but it's very comparable to the Emperor in Warhammer 40k.
I don't know anything about Warhammer 40k.
I don't know a whole lot about it either, but the concept of the Emperor in this show is basically Warhammer 40k Emperor, of he is only kept alive from the thing he is sitting on.
I see.
And because it is explained that the Emperor was a person. He's just kind of a skeleton now whose consciousness is being kept alive by the thing.
I don't want to get into lore of a whole other show while I'm trying
I'm
to
not.
explain this show.
No. I'm still explaining this show.
Oh, okay,
I'm just saying it's very similar.
I'm caught up in this. This is the most one of the most fascinating shows I've heard of, and then also, but it makes me want to nitpick it further. Where do we really need to kill God by going deep into the future where technology is hit? I don't know, BDSM's just a concept. I don't know.
Look, this show has a lot of weird social commentary for a show that doesn't even have the budget to animate its monsters correctly.
Yeah, no, it looks like
And that's part of why I love this
shit.
show.
Oh, really?
fucking
Hey,
dog shit, but
so-
in a good way.
Do you have screen caps of the Strange Beasts?
Oh, yeah, there should be some
Okay.
in here. But yeah, no, I mean, there's one character whose entire thing is just being like a groveling, sniveling, like, please hurt me, every woman who I come across. So I think that's the fetish in a nutshell. But
Whoa.
basically, so
Stop it,
back
that's my
at
phone,
the
leave it
village, you know, because they had to go take care of Dakini while there was like a giant strange beast invasion of like these T-Rexes going on. They turn back to the village. They beat up all the T-Rexes. They resurrect everything. They fix it all. Whatever. That
At the expense of Mitama being drained
Here are some
again.
strange beasts. What do you think of this CG?
Yeah, so these guys, they look like dog shit. They always look like dog shit.
That looks straight out of like
And-
90s, early 2000s.
Yes. They look like the Spawn
Crazy.
fucking Dreamcast game to me.
Whoa.
So this is another weird fetish scene that I really didn't see coming.
So if your friend made that, would you say it looked cool?
No.
Well,
Really?
so I don't
It
think.
depends on what game it's in. Like if this was an enemy in like a game.
What if they just modeled it and posted it on Twitter? Like boom.
Well, so
I
and that's
don't
part
know,
of the
maybe.
problem actually. If it was just the model, I might be okay with it. But because that they're using this kind of animation on
Yeah,
top of the animation they're already using, it does look like dog
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, yeah,
But I like it as a way to deal with a low budget.
I just think it's such a goofy ass design.
I would not excuse it for a
Look at
lot
the
of other
slide.
shows, but this show does a really good job with its low budget, just how it deals with it. Because sometimes it will be like 8-bit sequences
Oh,
to
yeah,
deal with
those are
that.
really fun.
Sometimes it will be the strange beast.
It's
It-
always
as
well
chef's
thought
kiss,
out.
you know?
It's always
Mwah.
considered. They're never not thinking about it, which a lot of anime is just like, oh fuck, we didn't realize that this was gonna look like shit, and then this anime is like, no, we know it's.
We
gonna
know
look like
it's
shit.
going to
How do
be-
we make that part of the joke?
Exactly.
Interesting.
But this is a weird scene. So we get introduced to this new character, and she can apparently command the strange beasts.
But she
And-
doesn't have enough power to do it. Because the Archons, like Mitama, who is a real,
Yeah.
real quote-unquote god,
They're
they draw...
follower-based powers.
Yeah, they draw their power off of how many followers they have.
And she doesn't have enough followers to do shit. So like this scene opens with her with like a bunch of these beasts, and basically she's like telling them what to do at first, but then they all turn on her. And I don't know. It looks like she is about to be gang raped by monsters, and then the scene just kind of ends, and you're like, oh.
The introduction of this
What?
Archon...
But she also is like, please don't do it to me. And you're like,
yeah.
is she asking the monsters to come fuck her?
No.
Did that
So,
happen?
the introduction of Dakini was kind of interesting because it actually gave a lot of power to her and how she actually has been thriving as an Archon since she was out from under the Emperor. Honestly, there are like 2 categories of Archons that we've been introduced to so far. So, Attar is in the other category, but I'll start with like Dakini and Loki. Dakini and Loki are thriving now that the Emperor is dead. You cannot attack my phone. You get to be cute on my lap. That's it. Sorry, I'm talking to the cat. She's trying to kill me.
She's not gonna do anything to your phone.
She
Oh my god,
she
she's
thinks
so
it's a
cute
toy.
right now. She's so cute right now.
But anyway, so then you have I don't remember this girl's name, but this girl and Attar are basically, now that the Emperor is gone, they have no fucking clue what to do with themselves, and so Yukito can kind of swoop in and be like, "Hey, come be part of my religion." And it's interesting, I guess, but
Unfortunately, this episode wasn't that.
I don't know why, but I'm just always in awe of how poorly anime handles like serious themes.
It's just
anime is not for serious
Bro,
people.
What if
no. It's
the
for
woman-
people who are too serious but can't tell. That
It's
they're
it's
too
very fan
serious.
fiction writing. Of what if the
You
woman
know,
got raped?
I think that's why I like
Yeah.
Kay so much, is because Kay just kind of acknowledges from the beginning, this is a serious topic.
Right.
Like the main character. Sorry to go off on a tangent about Kay. I don't think I've done it on this show before, so I feel justified in doing so. But like the main character is just kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, and then he gets thrust into this crazy fucking world. He's like, wait, I was just going to school a little bit ago. What's going on here? And you know, you learn the consequences of everything. Actually, Kay's a bad example.
No more.
Hey,
I wanna
hey,
say-
hey, Patreons, hey,
3 hours
Patreons, please vote for K. Please recommend K.
Yeah, recommend that next time.
Because also because we need to have Landon on this show.
Yes, we need to go hands on.
And
pray
K is
for Landon, by the way. That guy is not in good health.
we love him. We
Butthole
here
Weeb, shout
we love
outs.
Butthole Weeb. But no, Landon. I have always been terrified of introducing anything to him because most anime I've ever seen him react to that is modern is like, this is fucking dog shit. I dropped this harder than when my balls dropped when I was 13. And it's like, I showed him K.
All the time.
I showed him K and he was like, oh, this is actually okay. And I went, what?
Why does he do that?
I don't know why he does it, to be
I think it's
honest.
something I think his dad just talked in like a bunch of catchphrases that he picked up on and can't stop saying.
No.
Is it ironic?
No, it's not. Not at all.
No, it's like hanging out with Beavis and Butthead rolled into one dude.
Except-
but he's actually a
Wait,
smart guy. He
so-
just talks like that.
So I feel like with the Landon dynamic, one of us has to be Beavis, one of us has to be Butthead. Who's Beavis? Who's Butthead? With me and Landon.
I mean, he's Butthead to anybody he's talking. Like he's got the, shut up, Beavis, you fucking idiot. Like everything he says is
Yeah.
always like, what? You're an idiot. Fuck you, but like in a funny way.
My only exposure to Beavis and Butthead is Speeding Bullets Heaven.
Oh, I get to talk about
Amazing.
my exposure to... Okay, my only exposure to Beavis and Butthead is, and truly one of the funniest things that has ever happened in my life. When we were like 13, and so I was 13, my little brother, he's 4 years younger than me, was probably like 9. My grandmother, bless her heart, and she knows what that means because she's from the South, but she bought my little brother, who was 9, Beavis and Butthead pajamas, and I knew what it was because I was 13. And I went, Grandma, you know that's not an appropriate show to like give someone pajama pants about. She went, oh, I thought that was Phineas and Ferb.
That's awesome.
And like, oh my God, how do you fuck up that much?
Okay, well, anyway.
They don't even look similar.
That girl who got introduced in that last scene, she shows up and she sees Mitama and immediately just kisses her. She's like, I'm in love with you. We're lesbians now. And Mitama's like, why is this happening? I don't know why it's happening, but it keeps happening.
Wait, it's Attar. It's not Mitama, it's Attar.
Oh, okay, whatever.
I feel like this is the story of my life right now.
So, these the characters all show up to like what used to be the capital city. Now there's a giant wall around it, and Loki is in control of it.
And Loki has 1 million followers, which
Yeah,
is
we'll
unprecedented
get to that in a
for
second,
this show.
Because first it's
Bertrand,
Yeah,
right.
So this character was a man at the start of the show, and
Died.
and then Mitama brought them back as a woman.
And they are unhappy about it.
Yes, well, particularly in this episode, I think the gender dysphoria has
Well, they're
really set
no.
in.
The whole time they are very unhappy about being a woman. Like the gender dysphoria
there's like
is
moments
present
where
the whole
it
time.
seems like she's
I think-
almost conquered it, and then it like as soon as she like loses a
So
fight, she.
I think
becomes
the
depressed
implication
again.
with this is like the Black Knight armor kind of gives her back the confidence of being the man knight Bertrand, and then Mitama immediately kicks her ass.
Yeah.
And so she's like, just kill me.
Is it misgendering to call this character a her? We've never been able
Well,
to decide.
Look, I mean, like, to be honest, this character definitely identifies as a man. They are just in a female's body. They were, and literally how it's explained in the show is that Mitama just kind of did it on accident. She did not realize that this person was a man.
So we'll
Whatever.
say assigned female at death.
AFAD.
It's a fad.
So yeah, Loki, who is, Loki has the body of an incredibly hot woman and the voice of an incredibly hot man. So I'm just going to say Loki is all genders in this show.
Well, and Loki can shapeshift too. Because we are initially introduced to
And
Loki
uses
as
it to fuck with
Clem.
people by turning into a man while they're in the middle of making out with her. So I love Loki. But yeah, basically Loki shows up just to gloat because Mitama's like, we've got
Terrifying
10,000
spot for her.
followers. And he's like, I've got 1 million followers. And main guy like says like 1 million? Huh, I thought you'd have way more than that. We're not even afraid of you. Come on guys, let's fucking go do something else. And then he's like,
And then they get away
it's
from
a really
the fight.
good thing he didn't call that out, because we would have got our asses kicked.
I keep blanking out, but this is a trans person using her followers as like her power.
Alright, moving along. Hey, wait, skip a Loafer. That was it. That was
Hey,
that
you
show.
actually watched this with us. Okay, cool.
Wait, I watched this?
Yeah, just now. Remember?
Oh.
You had no opinions on it because this is
Yeah.
a confusing ass episode.
Was it confusing just because I kept distracting? With
No, it is literally just a
Oh,
confusing
okay.
episode.
I understood it more when I went back through to collect the screen caps. It is a little confusing because there's parts where characters are like having a conversation about things that happened previously, and then it cuts back to those things. But it's not stuff that we had been shown previously. It's I don't know. I've complained so much about anime doing this season. We don't need anachronic storytelling in every story. It's just not always necessary or helpful. So anyways, what this episode is about is Misaki, the main character. She is trying to help put together the school festival. I think part of the reason this episode confused us, Bird, is that this character is very important to this episode.
And
it's
she
never
hasn't been
existed
around before.
So I don't think I realized right away that I was supposed to be like paying attention to her. But basically, this girl chose to go to this high school because when she was in middle school, she went to the school fair and everything was so awesome that she was like, I gotta be a part of that. And when Misaki hears this, she basically is like, I have to inspire this girl. Like, I have to help her do this to the nines. We have to make this
And
the
then
best
she
fucking school festival possible.
fails.
Yeah, she overexerts herself throughout the episode. Meanwhile, Loafer, he was a child actor. He doesn't want to talk about it. We know it's connected to some kind of trauma where him and this girl, who I guess was his co-star, went to a party they shouldn't have. They got in trouble. She blames him and basically has been telling him, like, you're not allowed to have nice things. You fucked up my life, so you're not allowed to have nice things. You're supposed to hate yourself like I do, and we're just gutter trash. And she's really holding him down. And he kind of believes it. It's sad. But I think Skip's seeing through this, and I can't wait for the confrontation when they finally have to address, the toxic influence in his life. But basically, he doesn't want to be involved in acting, but they're throwing a play, and everyone in class is like, you should obviously be in this play. Not because they know him as an actor, just like, that's the kind of guy you are. And it suddenly occurs to him, oh yeah, it would be weird of me to refuse to do this apropos of nothing. Maybe I should try it. And yeah, he's being really indecisive. This was the confusing scene because it's like him and his friend in a diner, and it keeps cutting back and forth to school to the diner, and it wasn't that interesting. He kind of says the same thing he said a few episodes ago of like, yeah, so what if I'm like really not willing to show my emotions to people? It's never been a problem for me, and the guy's just kind of like, sus.
Yeah, and look, from a normie perspective, it is sus. Here's my hot take. You should kind of guard your emotions. Just a little bit.
Not around
just a little bit.
Everybody, but
sure, not around absolutely everybody, but to an extent
I
of
think what's nice about the relationship in this show is that
shit.
it's about
Is this a
finding
fucked up
somebody...
thing that I'm saying out loud?
I'm saying that, like, I think what's so nice about this show is that he's finding a person he could be emotionally honest with.
Blanking out again. I just like this show.
No, I
just
know.
don't-
So
I
like
just don't care.
the play they're doing, I was immediately like, oh, it's The Sound of Music, and then they started doing things that did not happen in The Sound of Music.
I don't remember anything.
That's the whole point. Shima's in a
They're
play.
getting ready to do a
okay.
play.
Well, it's the festival, so this is
so-
the festival arc.
Yeah, this is the scene where they're introducing the play and the concept of it and who's going to be in it through this cute, flowery diorama. It's kind of a unique art style. But yeah, basically the main thrust of what's happening here is this girl who wants the festival to be amazing keeps coming up with more and more ideas, and Skip's like, okay, I guess I gotta make that happen too, and she's running herself really raw. To a point where she almost walks over some nails that are in like this poster board.
Oh, gotcha.
Shima's like, hey, are you okay? Please don't hurt yourself. Here's her like passing out, trying to do shit back at home. So then we get a little bit of backstory on Shima, and it seems like in the first place he was only really trying to act to impress his mom, and she was like a total hard ass about it, and it kind of strained their relationship, so that's why he's like not into it anymore. But he's trying to put it behind him and act in this fucking play. And there's also a scene where he happens to catch Skip overhearing people talking about her and saying like, wow, she's really pushing herself too hard, she needs to fucking stop. And he sees her taking that in and is like, I'm gonna help her deal with that, and comes to check on her because he's a sweet boy. But basically he thinks like if she's collapsing under this much stress, Tokyo might literally be too much for her. Like, I kind of want her to stay the way she is. I want to protect the version of her that I like. Maybe she should be back in the countryside, which is doesn't really follow up on that train of thought, but it's an interesting idea he's got. They're hanging out. She's really like distraught, so he tries to cheer her up and starts doing his lines and singing for her, and it's pretty cute. She can't sing. They have a nice time. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
You said she starts doing his lines? That's not cool if someone's doing cocaine.
What is happening here? I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. Like, towards the end of the episode, basically she realizes that she can tell the girl, like, hey, what if we just simplified the set designs and, like, made it all, made it all better. Yeah, that's it. It was kind of a boring, like you said, kind of confusing episode.
What's the idiocracy thing? Mitsumi basically comes up and goes, your shit's all fucked. Or...
No, I can't say the full line for idiocracy, actually, on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I don't remember it. Okay, Konostono World.
It's the last show. We cover every episode. Yay, we're at the end. Wow,
really?
It's Dr. Stone. Yay, we always do it last.
I'm so glad this show is good again, because there were, last episode is where it really started to be good again, but there was like a solid 6-7 episodes. It was just like, I get it, okay?
So this episode left very little impression on me.
It didn't do much.
Something you think is
it's a little bit of setup. There's nothing I can particularly point out right now, but it's like, so they introduce a radio system, which is interesting. Everything's all crystals or whatever.
Earpieces.
Kohaku looks like a spy. This is anytime Kohaku gets to be the future shot, she's hot. Like, Kohaku is just hot.
She's just hot.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Here's her being cute. So, and Quinn, you have probably no idea who this character is, but her thing is that she's like a super badass tough girl, and they've spent the last like 3 episodes beautifying her to be able to win a literal beauty contest.
Do you have any exposure to Dr. Stone? Do you know the concept at all?
I think I watched a video of Best Guy Ever explaining it years and years ago.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah, because he had read the manga. And the anime is moving so fucking slow. It's going to take probably 10 years.
It's probably moving as slow as the manga is, right?
No. Well, the manga's just way ahead. Like, it's way, way farther ahead.
Well, because they didn't make the show for a while, I think.
Each season has been, like, 2 fucking years apart and, like, 11 episodes long. They're taking way too long. And I don't think, because this is only supposed to be an 11-episode season, so there's 1 episode left.
No.
They're not going to accomplish fucking anything by the time the season is over.
They're leaving us on a cliffhanger next week.
Probably.
God damn it.
There's a lot of science of creating the earpiece and like a RC
A drone.
car. Yeah.
They call it a drone.
Honestly, and here's the thing. I'm sure that if you are really into science, then all of these scenes are equally gratifying. Early in the show, when they were creating like the most basic necessities of life, I was more intrigued. But the more advanced the machines are, the more I kind of really just tune out the science. There's like 5 minutes of explaining how to build a thing in this episode that I'm like, yeah, I don't care. If I cared, I'd look up how to build the fucking thing, Like, what are they going to do with it? So... yeah, I don't know. The science parts I've started kind of tuning out. This is really fun, though.
I have always tuned out the science parts because it's just like, unless it's something I didn't know before, because sometimes they do teach you things that are fun. It is an educational anime, and that's the kid gloves I put on when I watch this show. It is just so you can learn science as someone who does not know science. Yeah. The plot is very secondary. Yeah. And in this episode, like a Mecha Senku, the Senku that comes back to explain science concepts, is back again. He basically goes, haven't seen me for a while, huh?
That was the last episode.
Oh, that was oh, sorry.
That's
Whatever.
a whole other
I probably didn't talk about it last week, but Mecha Senku comes back and he's like, "Haven't seen me for a while, huh?" And that was so annoying because it's like you're the whole point of the show. What are you talking about?
So
it needs to go
So
somewhere.
anyways, this episode we've got Kohaku, I can't remember, Amaryllis?
Amaryllis. You know, the
Kohaku,
Tool album.
Amaryllis and Ginkgo, who is in drag. And
Ginro.
Ginro, in drag, looking really cute. They've been sent in to infiltrate this place and basically just be hoes. And they're really good at it. So this girl has pretty much been training her whole life, or at least
to
like the
be
last
a
5
hoe.
years,
Wait.
to be
Specifically
hot enough,
for the purpose of assassinating the person in charge.
She wants to be hot enough that the
Which,
the
you know,
woman obsessed
goals.
What's the word I'm looking for? When a guy is obsessed with women, womanizing. The womanizing boss of this tribe. She's
who we
she's learned
still
how to
haven't
be-
met.
It's the way this episode is like portrays this character is like she is purely hot to manipulate and fuck with people and no other reason.
I used to be trolled, but I found a way to stop it. I do all kinds of stupid and gay shit. They can't troll you if you dress up as a girl and kiss them. I don't like doing it, but it works.
I think I've read that before.
Yeah, I
like
showed her that meme earlier this week. Holy shit.
Okay, that's the Tales Gets Troll. We were looking at my book.
Oh yeah, that's right. You
no,
showed that to us.
You showed that to us. I'm sorry. I have a poor memory.
So Amaryllis, she is like just flirting with this big, huge, muscular man, and of course he, at the mere sight of her, like turns completely pink and is all puffed up and stuff, and she's just using him. It's pretty cute. There's a moment where, like, oh yeah, they build like a drone, I guess. Whatever. There's a moment where Ginro is just admiring how two-faced the girls are, and like. Granted, like, Kohaku has never tried to be cute for any reason at all. She's very attractive because she has a nice body, but she's just not ever attempted it.
In the earpiece, to make sure that she is or she's hearing everything people are saying, Gen goes, do a kawaii pose.
Yeah.
Because he knows it's going to fuck with her.
Yeah, that was the one we showed a few screen caps ago.
But so her reaction is,
I will get vengeance on you for this.
Well, that, but more specifically, I have to act cute? Let me act like Suika.
Oh,
Melon
okay.
Girl.
Yeah, so she's trying to act like a cute little...
Melon Girl's the best.
But what I love about this episode, even though most of it's like kind of repetitive and mundane, is that Kohaku like sees what Amaryllis is doing and really appreciates it and starts copying it. Like, her reaction to seeing her being like a stone cold hoe is like, wow, what a superpower to have. I'm gonna do that too. And like,
So based. So
so the two of them just kind of take over. And Ginro, this is a boy who does not want to be here, but you know, he's
the girliest looking boy that exists.
What the heck? I'm so like ready to check out, but then like it keeps drawing me back in.
It's okay, you can be ready to check out. We're almost done.
Okay.
And this is a scene where basically the long and short of it is Kohaku like she can't write because she's part of a primitive society, but she does.
None of them can write.
Yeah.
Ginro has a whole flashback too. So Ginro has a brother named Kinro who's a lot more studious and better at his job than Ginro is. And so Ginro has this flashback of Kinro learning language, and initially we see like Ginro respecting Kinro and learning the language, and then Kohaku goes, "That didn't happen. What are you talking about?" And Ginro goes, "You're right. I don't know how to write anything."
So she draws some pictograms and sends it along. Pictographs, and Gen just sort of translates them based on like understanding her perspective and what things she would be able to reference in her. It's basically just like a one-on-one on how to do symbol analysis, which is kind of fun. Gen is the most literally me character in this show because this whole thing is voice manipulation, and it makes a really hot girl.
Kind of sucks that the most literally me character is in cryostasis for the rest of the show, as far as I'm concerned.
And yeah, basically the episode ends with him being like, we'll be able to revive all our friends.
No, that's the thing. Why they can do that is because Kohaku has found platinum.
Yes, and that's what their whole search is for, is platinum. Alright, we did it. That was the last show we had to talk about this week. Woo! 3.5 hours or
Oh my
less.
god, only
Won't
an
be that
hour
hard
longer? Shaves, his podcast was like 4.5, right?
Look, I really, really try to keep these from getting too fucking long.
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably the problem when it comes to that.
We're probably gonna go buy soda or something. I'm fucking thirsty, and
You're always
you should
thirsty.
go to the bonus episode, patreon.com/goldenwitchfire or backed.by/we-watch-anime.
Which we would prefer you support us on because we can never get canceled off of that platform.
Yes,
not
we literally
even by
own,
God.
Yeah, we own the platform, and we own our instance of the platform, and the platform overarching only takes 1%. As opposed
So if you
to
really want to give
5%
us
that
money
my Patreon
and you want
takes.
that money to not be taken away by some dumbass third party, give it to us on BackBuy.
Yeah. All right.
That being
bonus episode. The next bonus episode is going to be Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
So, for sure, we're not
that's
even
the
going
one
to
you
consider
wanna
the
do
other one.
first,
That's
right?
the one I want to do, but I don't know that I am an unbiased opinion on that. I don't know anything about the other show. Do you know anything about the other show?
Yeah, it's really good.
It is really good. Do you think it is better than Cyberpunk? Because
It's probably better, but that doesn't mean it'll be more interesting to talk about, and we can definitely cover both. Like, people are
Okay.
just going to vote for the other show again in the next poll if we run it in the next poll. So.
all right, then we'll do that. Yeah, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. That's what I wanted to win. I'm happy it won.
All right. Is there anything else we have to say?
Anime forever.
Quinn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. You've been a great guest.
Oh, cool.
You look like you actually have passed out. So
I'm so tired.
I don't blame
I'm
you.
so
We literally walked around Pride for like a half a day.
I mean, we walked 5 miles. You had to have walked more than that because you were there way earlier than we were.
I was there all day, and I was parked a million years. Yeah, anyway.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Anime forever.
Anime forever.